Good evening. Welcome to another edition of the Power Hour. I'm Steve, along with the urban sensation C Red, Cactus Rack Rachel, Rion Skills, and Pac Man. Now, tonight, I'm doing a solo, at least right now. C Red suffered some personal loss today. And obviously, we love wrestling. We love to do this podcast. But real life sometimes takes over and puts you in places you'd rather not be. So I send my best out to see Red right now. Uh, he's one of the best humans that I know on this planet, and the fact that he's having a tough time hurts my heart as well. So, C Red, we love you. We're there for you. We miss you, but still we carry on in your name, and we hope that your load gets a little lighter as time passes. Anybody that's dealt with loss knows what he's going through right now. We saw his messages on social media today. Um, Losing anybody is a tough thing. We've lost too many people in this business. All of us has lost people personally. So we wish Sean all our best, and we hope to see him next week. And we again hope the road is a little brighter and the load is a little lighter. So that said, then we move over to Cactus Rack, our favorite Chicago knockout. Rachel apparently stepped under a ladder, crossing a black cat, and had a little bad luck and wound up getting a little bit injured, which sucks on a couple of levels because not only is she not going to be with us tonight, but she also might miss, unless something happens magical. I mean, I don't know if she'll be cleared to do knockout business this Saturday in Homewood as the Chicago Knockouts 2024 season begins. So again, much like Red, we wish Rachel all the best. We hope you're convalescing well. We hope you're getting better. We hope you're getting stronger. And we hope that your road to recovery is a speedy and successful one. We love you. We appreciate you. And we wish you were here as well. And that brings me to Pac-Man, our honorary Power Hour member, member of the JFW podcast team and the LIM, of course. Uh, Pac-Man's a great creative contributor to this show. Just having him here, putting up pictures along with Rion is amazing. And we just like having him around. I mean, he doesn't do, I'm sure, as much as he'd like to do, but just having him around makes us all feel good. So, Pac-Man, wherever you are, maybe you drop by tonight, maybe you don't. But I hope you're well wherever you are doing LIM things with all the Pabst Blue Ribbon or Old Style you can drink. Which brings me to Rion Skills, the real deal, who I do expect to join us at some point this evening. And that will be good because, Rion certainly knows our guest tonight very well, that being Nate Grimm. Now, Nate will join us a little bit later on as tonight, for the first time since I've been doing this thing, we're going international. Nate lives and wrestles in China, so they are 14 hours ahead of us. So for him, it's right now it's about 4:30 in the morning. So he will be joining us at a little more reasonable hour, aka 5:30. And he will take us home tonight on the Power Hour. And I'm looking forward to talking to Nate. It's been many years since our paths have crossed. We'll talk all about the time gone by, what brought him to China, and KOPW wrestling that he's very proud of right now. So that's coming up in the second half of the Power Hour. But until we get Nate Grimm or Rion Skills, you got me tonight. Now, I know for some of you, this is okay, good enough, maybe. For some of you, this is hell on earth. And I know who you are. So this is for you. We got a lot to talk about tonight. Even though I'm flying solo, we got many, many things to talk about this evening. I want to start with something that's been bothering me since I found out about it. Now, obviously, last Friday night in Franklin Park, CSW presented Hearts on Fire. And the show was amazing. Everybody did great. It's already up on IWTV. So if you have IWTV, or even if you don't, get it, because it's worth watching. It was an amazing show. Many cool things happen. Right now, CSW is running at the highest level it's ever run at. It's amazing from start to finish, from pre-show match till the show is over. It's 100% pure adrenaline. It's just a great show if you enjoy wrestling. Everybody who was there knows what I'm talking about. So great show. We'll talk about that at length shortly, but I want to talk about something that wasn't great. Look, people, you come to the wrestling shows and we love the fans. We love seeing you guys out there. Some of you we see often, and the ones that keep coming back and buying the ticket and cheering and having a good time on Friday night, we love you. That's why we do this. 100%. We're not making WWE money, but we do it because we love doing it. It's a passion. We all share it, we all feel it, and we feed off of your energy. And on Friday nights in Franklin Park, the energy is the best it's ever been. However, something happened Friday night that should never happen anywhere ever. And the fact that it happened on my home court is troubling and embarrassing and will not be tolerated moving forward. So let's go back to Friday night. Now, if you're following the CSW train, and I know you are, hashtag CSW strong, uh, one of our most popular superstar, one of the most beloved superstars we have is the dad bod demigod, Joey Mayberry. Joey's work in the ring, whether he's heel or baby or whatever, tweener, he is fantastic to watch. 100% electricity. When he's in the ring, big things happen. It's been that way ever since day one. He is as flamboyant and grandiose as any performer I've ever worked with. And I can't wait to see one of the highlights for me on a given Friday night is seeing the outfit that Joey comes up with to wear. And at Hearts on Fire, it was like fashion week for Vogue. I mean, he was dressed, he looked like he was one giant BG. But that being said, as a person, he's even better. So he's a great performer, love him or hate him, but he's a better human being. He's a wonderful person, very, very kind, very, very generous with his time and his talent. And, this is a guy you pull for. I want him to do well. I want him to go far in this business, as does everybody that comes to a CSW show, or most everybody, so I thought. So this past Friday night, at some point, and right now Rion Skills has joined us. Now I know that's just a still photograph. I don't believe Rion is in the desert right now, although it might be true. Rion is a wanderer. He is the whiz. You never know where the wind will blow, the real deal. Hello, Rion. How are you? We'll just let him be stoic.
So,
Oh, hey, what's
uh,
up? Um, I
you,
was just talking about something that happened Friday night. So, uh, welcome, and you know who's here now? Our friend PX.
uh-huh.
We got three people, and there's a young picture of Jason Hades. This is not Hades. That was last week. That's PX. So, hello, PX. Wait for it. Anyway,
He's fine. He's fine. We'll figure it
Hi,
out.
Steve. Technical difficulties. I'm
that's
here.
okay. It's good to see you both. I started off on my own, and I don't know if it was going well, but at least we were getting somewhere. So what I'm talking about is something bad that happened Friday night. Usually at CSW, it's a great show. Everybody has a good time. Everything's hunky dory, but a cloud was cast over it this past Friday, and it happened to Joey Mayberry. And I was just talking about Joey being a tremendous in-ring personality and a better human being outside the ring. And at some point, a fan or a detractor or somebody decided that it would be a great idea to throw Joey Mayberry's merch in the trash. I have a lot of feelings about this. Um, I'm angry. I think it's a terrible thing to do. Uh, you know, Wrestlers sell the merch to make a little extra money so they can continue to provide entertainment and get the nice gear that they wear in the ring. Get the wrestling training that they need. Get gas to drive from venue to venue. So merch is one of those things. If you ask Brutal Bob Evans, you have to have it. And Joey's merch is fantastic. Water bottles, T-shirts, you name it. There's Mayberry's logo or face on it. But somebody decided to come to Franklin Park and thought it would be a great idea to throw this man's merchandise in the trash. Now, I don't know if it was just a stupid prank. We're just going to toss it in the trash. Ha ha, see what happens. Not very funny, motherfucker. Or number two, someone is not down with certain things, perhaps about Joey Mayberry. Now, that takes us to a very slippery slope. And that takes us down a rabbit hole that I'm not sure anybody wants to go down. Now,
Hey.
and there is Rion Skills. The real deal has come tonight to talk to Grimm because he and Grimm have had business in the ring at many times in the past. We all know that Joey is a very proud member of the LBGQT community. And I would hope beyond all hope that the trashing of his merchandise was not related to that. Because if that is somebody that is not a supporter of his lifestyle, trying to send a statement by throwing this man's hard-earned money in the trash, that is wrong on every level. Business level, human level, wrestling level, personal level. There is no level on this planet that kind of behavior should be acceptable or tolerated. I don't care if you're a supporter of one political party or another, or one affiliation or not. Keep your hands off of people's shit. Now, this bothers me because Joey is my friend and I love the man. I think he is just a beautiful person. But not just 2 months ago, somebody stole C Red's jacket at the same venue. Now, come on, people. We're better than this. This is 2024. We're supposed to be better than this. But here we are stealing people's shit and throwing people's shit in the trash. And that bothers me. Now, the good thing I have come to find out is there were cameras in place all over the venue, as there are because with working with IWTV, we need many angles. And it turns out a camera was on the merch table, and they do that on purpose because there are issues from time to time. So the idiot that decided this was a good idea is going to get outed. Now, I'm not very much into outing people. I feel like social media is rough enough than to out people for any kind of egregious actions. And there are plenty, there are bad situations in the world, but social media is a slippery enough slope. We don't need to spray water on it. Okay. Bad is bad. Let it be. So I don't choose to participate in these things because it's not my business. I will, however, participate in this. When this human gets outed, it's dogpile on this human. It is make this human accountable and understand that it never a point in the future will this be allowed or tolerated, hoping that the person that is caught will be banned from Franklin Park. It's unnecessary, Rion. You've been doing this a lot longer than I have. Maybe I have a bit of a naive 11 years. I have only seen so many things. I have only heard so many things. You have double my experience. What say you of somebody taking this man's merch that he has spent his hard-earned money on, that he relies on to get gas, get new clothing for his gimmick, and all the things that wrestlers use merch funds for, sometimes even basic survival, and just throw it in the garbage. Throw it in a fucking garbage. Come in.
Oh, I'm sorry.
If you're here, we got to have you here. And I'll get your food very shortly.
Oh, okay.
We're gonna slide.
Did they pay for this merch?
No, took it off the table while backs were turned.
Mm-hmm.
Threw it in the garbage.
They went out of their way to grab, like they didn't pay for it and then throw it in?
No, to my knowledge, his merchandise was taken off the merch table and thrown in the garbage.
And then they just walked away, like they didn't just throw it in the garbage.
That is what is being reported. If this is erroneous, then I apologize for that.
No,
but
fine.
the outrage that surrounds it would suggest that his merchandise was pilfered and then deposited in the nearest trash receptacle.
And it was just his, no one else's?
Just his, no one else's. as if he were singled out.
Okay. Me personally, if that was the case, and this is just me, so I don't like if there's anyone that has a problem with what I'm going to say, feel free to come and talk to me. I got time. Don't come to Steve. Don't go to Power Hour. Come to me directly, Rion Skills. I got time. I will make the time for you to say what you need to say to me. But if it were me and I knew that someone threw merchandise away of mine that they didn't pay for, I would just go, if I knew who it was, I would go to them directly and just ask them what's happening. Is it a rib or is there a problem? But they have to make a decision on what's happening. That's how I would handle it. I would go to them directly. I wouldn't involve other people. I wouldn't go in and bring social media into it. I would literally say, especially if I wasn't there to see it happen, because that's my next question is that was Mr. Mayberry there?
He was, I mean, he was wrestling.
He was wrestling while this was happening.
Correct.
Where was the person that was at the table?
At certain times, there's never anybody, the wrestlers put their merch out.
Oh, I know how it works.
Yeah.
I'm just saying this particular deal, was there someone?
No,
Okay, was it near other tables?
it was.
Was there other people surrounding said tables?
There were some people behind table that were watching the match, not watching, there are people there, there's a CSW person watching the CSW merch. Every now and again, Sierra Jovialon will come out
Right.
and man their station, but they're not there the whole night.
Okay.
That's the thing. It's a fluid situation. When they're backstage, they're backstage. When they're not, and they're not on the ring, then they come out and they man their merch tables. But there's a lot that goes on a given evening. So it is not a security because we believe that nobody's going to do this. We believe that this is safe haven. No one's gonna fuck with their shit.
Okay.
I mean, that's kind of maybe it's an unwritten rule. Don't fuck with their shit.
It is. What here's the thing, and I'll use Rocket Pro as an example. Because they have this setup where when you first come into the door, when you come into the building, they have these merch tables out, and you can choose to either leave them out and then go and wrestle, or you can have someone watch it. But there's always someone around to kind of like watch things happening around it. Because I'm looking at it from a devil's advocate of this person, whoever it is thinking, oh, no one's around. I can do what I want because no one's around, which isn't right. But I'm just looking at it from a standpoint of if it's as fluid of traffic as you say, to where someone isn't there all the time.
It is a very heavily trafficked area. So to have the opportunity to remove somebody's materials from a table has to be a very, very specifically calculated thing.
And that's what I'm getting at.
Right.
Because if that is the case, where there's a lot of traffic and all this other stuff is happening, and I knew who it was, I wouldn't even bother trying to go on social media
right,
because they'll be back. Like I would, that's how I'm looking at it. Because if you go about it, and this is just me personally, if I'm in that position and I know who it is, I'll wait.
Yeah.
I will wait it out because if it's all the merchandise that got thrown in the trash and everything got destroyed and everything else, you have every right. Yell to all heaven and earth, just yell to but if it's just one particular thing and they were making a point to just be petty, then at least find out where the petty is coming from in the wrestling aspect, especially if you have an intimate relationship with the fans themselves. Surely you'll be able to have one conversation with someone that may or may not like you.
See, I suspect, now this is just me personally, where we sit in commentary is we are up against the far wall. And I am literally 8 feet from merch because that's where we sit. But obviously I'm focused on calling matches, so I don't I'm ingrained in the ring. I'm not really looking around other than in the ring.
No, you got a job to do.
Right. And I am with the largest grouping of the fans.
Mm-hmm.
It's 5 rows deep, sometimes 6,
Mm-hmm.
and it's all the way to the back wall. We're sitting in the middle of it. And there's always one group of fans that typically sit in the same section that love to ridicule Joey and Mateo specifically.
Mm-hmm.
And I know who they are. I don't know their names, but I know them by sight.
Feel like before you say anything else,
Mhm.
I've already taken responsibility for myself. I can only take responsibility for so many things, and I've made it clear that I'm not going to do that. So if you're going to come on here and start outing people,
Oh no, I'm not going to out anybody because I
I'll
can't.
appreciate it.
Like I said, I don't know who they are, but I do know a section
Mhm.
that is oftentimes, is it derogatory because they're fans that bought their tickets and are just being fans, or is it something else?
then let me. Okay.
I told you it's a slippery slope.
No, it's not. It's not. It's not at all.
It's not slippery.
I've been on slippery slopes, and this ain't it.
Yeah.
So I can handle this pretty well, actually. If it is the section of people that you say that it is, and they for whatever reason watches the Power Hour, the best way I can put it is, if you see this, say something.
Yeah. Please tell me if I'm wrong about you and I've got you wrong. I'm there.
However, if you see this and you don't show up, you have already.
I know you.
So
Oh yeah.
I feel like if you watch
Something's got to give.
If you watch this, I feel like the easiest scenario would be to at least say something to someone before someone comes and says something to you, or them, or however they like. However, how many are in the group? If there is a group of people that like calculated this malicious act. So
Not the 4 horsemen, but there are 4.
If that was the case, I would say make sure to come to the next show prepared to talk to someone. I unfortunately will not be able to be there to, talk to you, because I would probably be the best one to talk to in this situation.
There's no doubt about it.
But with that being said, I feel like if you don't show up, it doesn't help you.
Then I know who you are. Here's the thing. It's 2024.
Mm-hmm.
We all make mistakes. If you come back and you apologize for said moment of transgression and you reimburse Mr. Mayberry the lost funds for his lost merchandise, it might not make everything better, but it would be a nice start to repair damage if you're somebody that frequents these shows. At least that's my opinion. I still feel like, it will be a rough road to walk.
Yeah,
But we're pretty forgiving people, right?
well, you can't say I'm not part of the people.
If it happened to you,
I can't take credit for this.
If it happened to you,
Mhm.
if somebody at IPW threw somebody's merch in the trash,
Mhm.
and we didn't know who it was, and they saw us talking about it on the Power Hour, and they came back and said, "Listen, I made a bad choice. I was going through some stuff. I'm sorry. Here's the money." Water under the bridge? Bygones be bygones?
For me personally,
Sure.
yeah.
Well,
Okay.
there you go.
You shouldn't tell me. You should tell the person that you actually.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
But
all right, let's say it's you. Let's say it's Rion Skills and his merch. Real Deal Enterprises.
All right.
And somebody throws away your shit. They don't like the wave.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna stop at nothing to send a message to you.
Mm-hmm.
They see the Power Hour. They realize they were wrong. Mr. Rion made a bad choice, had a bad day. I'm the one that threw your merchandise in the trash. You don't know what I was thinking. I'm sorry. Here's the money for your missing merch.
Okay.
My apologies.
Okay.
How do you do it? What do you say?
Thank you, because you didn't have to do it. You
Nope.
didn't have to walk over this way, but I'm glad that you did. And hopefully we never have to have this conversation again. And then I would buy him a beer or her a beer or whoever it is. I would just so they understood that everything was okay. Because if anything else happens after that, now you're being an asshole for the sake of being an asshole.
So there are many ways this story could end.
Guess we'll see.
Guess we'll see. But anyway, aside from and Joey, I don't think Joey watches this, but if Joey did watch this, dude, that I feel terrible about it. I'm you know,
Absolute BS.
it's crappy, it's shitty. You're too good a person to have to deal with this shit. And on behalf of everybody that loves you, I'm sorry. So that we'll just leave that at that.
Guess we'll see what happens in the next show.
Guess we'll see what happens. When CSW is over like Clover in March. That's the name of the next show. Over like Clover. It's fun to say.
Over like Clover.
Over like Clover. All right. So while we're here, and like I said, this show, we are going to talk to Nate Grimm coming up about 20 minutes past the hour of 7, possibly 7:30, and then he'll take us through the end of the show. So we're opening the show with how we usually close it. So if you're watching tonight and you're saying, hey, this is backwards, you're right, because he's in China and we're not. And we're just happy to have him.
It is currently like 7:30 in the morning. I believe it's 7.
I think it's 4:30. It's 4:30 in the morning.
No, he's ahead of us. I had to think about what time.
It's 14 hours.
Yeah. So I think like it'll either be really early or really late. I just gotta.
It's really early because I said, "Can you come on at 6:30?" And he said, "Dude, that's 4:30 my time."
No, you don't understand. So I talked with him like 2 hours ago because he was trying to figure out the Zoom call.
Oh,
And because I've had conversations with him like on my break from my shoot job at like 3:30, and he's like in the afternoon. Like so that's why I was like, I'm not sure exactly what time it is, but I'm like,
I'm not sure why Quentin Tino's here, but
it's fine.
he's here.
I just
Because we're doing the show in a different order.
That's what Pax got out of that. Thank you, Pax.
You're welcome.
That's fine. That's fine. But if I just can't remember like what the actual time. I can't remember if he's like half a day ahead or behind us.
I think it's tomorrow there.
Mm-hmm. And that's why I was trying, because we were trying to figure it out, because we were talking for like months, and I couldn't figure out for a while like when I'm on break from work if it was okay to talk to him.
Mm-hmm.
Because of what was going on there. I was like, is this cool? He's like, yeah, right now it's fine. You know, he's just living his life. I think we'll be okay. I think because he may actually just be getting up.
Yeah, he told me that's why he's coming on an hour later, because he wanted the extra hour.
When I talked to him, it was like 5:30 a.m. That was earlier.
But he just messaged me a few minutes ago, so maybe he's
right. He
having flapjacks and coffee.
He should be fine because he was panicking.
No one should panic. There should be no panic coming on this show.
Bro, when I talked to him, he was like, "What time is it again?" Because he didn't like. He was like, "Really?" And because he was still trying to. I was like, "Wait, that can't be right." Because then we were adding stuff up. We were trying to figure out.
Well, he messaged me at 3:30. Said, "What's the Zoom passcode?" And I'm like, "Oh shit, no, we're a little bit later on now."
And then that's probably when he messaged me trying to figure out what the fuck was going on. But please continue with your order, I guess.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some instructions right now,
Mm-hmm.
and you can follow them or not.
Mm-hmm.
If you walk into that kitchen
Mm-hmm.
and you go into that microwave,
Mm-hmm.
there is a bowl of pasta and sausage
Mm-hmm.
with your name on it.
Okay.
If you then go in the fridge, there is Pepsi, Dr. Pepper, or Mountain Dew for you to enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Parmesan cheese is in there if you look hard enough.
Okay.
If you'd like to put that on your sausage and pasta.
All right.
Pasta and sausage has been warmed, but if it's not warm enough, you can put it in for a minute. It's sitting in that microwave.
Okay.
I would serve you, but I'm going to talk about things now you don't know about. So I'm going to carry on while you're getting your food, and then you can come back and we can discuss more.
All right. Well, I'll go back to New Mexico.
Rihanna is back in Mexico. We're going to talk about CSW Hearts on Fire. Friday night, another banner night in the CSW legacy. We had Jason Hades last week. He said it was going to be a great show. Jason Hades is a smart man. He was right. Let's go to some of the memorable moments. And there's Rihanna Skill's bowl of pasta. It does not look exactly like that. I'm not sure I would give him something that looks like that. But you know, we'll have to wait and see what Rion. Maybe he won't like it. I have other things to cook him if he doesn't like it. Don't worry, he will be fed. The show started off hot. Started off. If you have IWTV, go ahead and watch it. It's there. Get it if you don't have it because it's great. Lots of good wrestling on there. You can watch Freelance on there. We'll talk a little bit about Freelance too. So it starts off with Boz walking into the arena. Hey, that's Boz. He's walking with purpose, etc., etc. And then he is just full out attacked by the Hate Keepers, who are now being led by the Warhorse, Jake Parnell. And they beat the stuffings out of him with a lead pipe, and bad things happen. So, as he's left there lying in the ring, or lying in the street, not the ring, because we haven't gotten to the ring yet. Haven't even gotten in the building yet. It's Boz walking outside from his car. Marche comes out, helps him get up, and says the infamous line, "Man, they beat the change out of you," because there was change on the parking lot where Boz was laying. So they literally beat the change out of him. And Marche was that's a great hashtag, you know, either way. But it was not a great way to start the show. Not a great way. And that ended up being a match that happened you know, all the way toward the end of the show, where we had and at that point Boz was taken out of action. So now Lycan has no partner, and he's got to take on Marston and Boucher. So as we go through the night, we're wondering who's gonna team with Lycan. He's been destroying everybody in the company along with the Hate Keepers for years. So who's gonna step up? He goes and talks to Axel, Rico, and Marche. Hey, I need some help. Hey, we've got matches. Sorry, bud. You got to do this on your own. So, you know, nobody was really willing to give Lycan the time. But by the time the match came to be, Boz taped up his ribs and fought anyway. And I don't know if you've seen social media, but the way that match started was after Lycan and Boz were walked into the ring. Well, Lycan gets introduced first, and then the Hate Keepers come out, and Lycan takes a garbage can and throws it and hits the Hate Keepers, and it's now a GIF online, and a very funny one at that. Check it out. Boz eventually does come out, to the delight of the fans and the delight of everybody there, and he and Lycan, you know, do what they do, and it was a hell of a match. You know, it ended the way you would expect. It's a complete clusterfuck. And it, you know, it leaves with the Warhorse coming out and TJ Steele coming out and all hell breaking loose as we go into over like Clover. So the story is not over, but it was a violent match, to say the least. Kudos to Steve Boz, because Steve Boz, all these men are much younger than Steve. You could add a couple of them together and still not get Steve. And Steve has been in this business, and he's been a shining example of what it means to be great for all kinds of years. He was doing things that I have never seen Steve Boz do. Flying through the air, getting beat up with plunder, just taking the beating and giving the beating. And he had everything for these young men and much, much more. Great match, great way to end the show. Very memorable, but I'm not going to give you all the details because I want you to go to IWTV and watch it. It's a fun match and a fun show. Speaking of fun matches and fun things, not so fun was Avalon and Sierra taking on GPA and a mystery partner, because at Freelance, did you see the footage of Avalon basically jackknife powerbombing Laney Luck onto a group of fans?
Yeah.
She dislocated her shoulder.
Makes sense.
She's on the shelf. Couldn't be his partner, so he had to bring somebody with him from Freelance. Who does he bring with him? Former CSW standout and Freelance superhero Craig Mitchell. You know Craig Mitchell.
I do.
Dude's a beast.
Mm-hmm.
He is very beastly.
He is not Laney Luck.
He is not Laney Luck, but he is a beast.
Mm-hmm.
So GPA and Craig Mitchell proceed to fight Sierra and Joey Avalon.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a great match. But what ultimately happens is they work on Avalon's arm.
Mm-hmm.
And they do ugly things to Avalon's arm while cheating.
Mm-hmm.
And egregious at the end. Egregious to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
So Sierra and Avalon retain their titles, but at what a cost.
Mm-hmm.
We think Joey could be on the shelf for a while. So as they are doing unspeakable things while they're holding Sierra, she can't help him.
Mm-hmm.
Jack Moody
Mm-hmm.
and Mateo Valentine come out.
Mm-hmm.
They are heroes. And they come and they chase the freelance people away. And they are helping up Lycan. And it was at that moment, true colors came shining through.
Mm-hmm.
And they beat the snot out of Avalon and Sierra. And it was ugly. I'm not happy about this. I'm done with Mateo. I'm not going, yes, queen anymore. I'm going, what's up, bitch?
That'd be funny to see.
And then Jack Moody, I just officiated the man's wedding.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's back to Moody CTW version 1.
Don't know that yet.
I do know that.
Okay.
He's even said only losers lose. That's vintage Moody. That's when he was doing that middle initial shit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm undefeated. You remember?
I mean, I do.
So what does that mean going forward to over like Clover? So, that was a bit hard to watch. First time I've ever had a chance to see the base god.
Okay.
Gringo Loco taking on Rafael Quintero and Shane Hollister.
All right.
Gringo,
Mm-hmm.
Hollister, Quintero, we're getting to the know. They blew the roof off the facility. Might have been the hottest match of the night. It was crazy. Crazy. At one point, they flew into the 4th row.
Sorry. Pack's back. I'm going ahead back where I was. You continue. I happen to see that he's back,
Pax is doing yeoman's work tonight.
Go figure.
If you haven't, I could sit here and tell you all day how impressed I was with Gringo Loco. Everybody knows who he is. I have not had much of an opportunity to watch him. What a fantastic performer. We're very lucky that he is returning to CSW at Over Like Clover. But Hollister was amazing, and Quintero leveled up and was equal to the task. Fantastic match. Watch it right now on IWTV. You'll be glad you did. It's one for the books. I got to see Milla Moore for the first time.
Okay.
She took on Shelly Benson, the Bombshell, for the CSW Women's title. Shelly is still the champion, but we are very hopeful that Milla Moore or Mia Moore, I've heard it said both ways. I got in trouble for mispronouncing somebody's name, so I'm going to do it both ways, just so I'm covering everybody.
But he got it. I was making sure he got it.
Don't sleep on Ms. Moore. She was fantastic, but Shelly, who is looking for competition, got everything she could handle and more. I don't think this feud between these two is over, but what a match it was. And we've been talking about Amina Belmont, who I hope to have on the Power Hour before too long, just because for her voice alone. She's got one of the great voices in wrestling right now. She was in a scramble against the likes of Cypher, Lizard Man Nathan Nile, amongst others. And she was hopelessly outsized. Let's put it that way. I mean, Cypher is just a gigantic human.
I got you, Pack.
You would think that nobody would stand a chance against the likes of Cypher and Uncle T and Dew Montgomery and Nathan Nile flying all over the damn place. But by hook or by crook, Amina Belmont did win this match. And then to make even more of a statement at CSW, she came in and beat the snot out of Shelley after her match, which I think might even put her up as #1 contender for the Bombshells title. Making it happen, projecting her goals onto the situation. So I thought it was a big time situation.
That, I'm sorry. I was chewing. Did she win the match?
She won the match.
Really?
Yeah, it's on IWTV. You could watch it. I'm not going to tell you how she won it because I want you all to watch IWTV.
I'm gonna check that out.
It was certainly she was certainly at right place, right time, that's for sure.
Okay. All right.
Another match that was fondly looked upon as great was the women's tag match. Missa Kate and Maggie Lee make one hell of a tag team. And then it's the tag team that I never thought I would ever see in my lifetime. Heather Reckless, and of course, AEW's own Sky Blue.
Packers on it.
Packers on it. And man, I would encourage you all to watch IWTV to see this one because, you know, some shit went down. Code Blue off the top rope is what won that match.
Mm-hmm.
But before that victory for Sky Blue, after hitting Maggie with a chair to put her in that position, many shenanigans happened, including earlier in the evening, Missa Kate finding out Iniestra was one of the people responsible for the attack. So it sounds like the Brass were the people that beat up Missa Kate last month.
Makes sense.
And right before the end of the match, Iniestra comes out to protect Heather Reckless, who is part of the Brass now. She is now a full-on Brass hole. And Missa Kate chased him into the locker room, leaving Maggie by herself, and then bad things happened. But what a great match. I'm proud of that one. I think we did a great job on commentary with that one. Iniestra and Adam Stallion started the show. And, you know, when you start a wrestling show, if you start a wrestling show hot, it's usually a hot show.
Mm-hmm.
And they did amazing work in, I hope we get a rematch because Adam Stallion should have won the match. My opinion, he got cheated. So I hope they run that back. But something that really caught my eye and caught the ears of everybody was the In the Closet segment. That's Joey Mayberry's talk show in which the Brass were interviewed.
Okay.
If you haven't seen it, go on social media. There is an excerpt that they pulled from IWTV where Joey dresses down each individual member of the Brass, from TJ Steele to Iniestra to Ryan Matthews. And what he said to Jax Johnson might go down in history as one of the things that popped the crowd the hardest. There's no one that's going to Jax your Johnson.
It's pretty solid.
It was good stuff. And the people went wild. And that, of course, spilled over into the 6-man tag. Iniestra, Jax, Matthews taking on Mayberry, Marche, and Moondog. And that would go about how you'd expect it to go. And it's available to watch on IWTV. So all in all, merch and trash notwithstanding, Hearts on Fire was everything it needed to be.
Good to hear.
So that's where we're at. Oh, I'm sorry. It wasn't Iniestra. It was Schultz. I keep forgetting Eric Schultz is part of this thing.
Tomato, potato.
Indeed. And what he said about Schultz was pretty funny too. So that's Hearts on Fire. Coming up in March, we have Over Like Clover, once again featuring Ringo Loco. And now we also have our annual visit from Swoggle. So Hornswoggle will be in Franklin Park on for that Friday in March. So check it out. It's going to be great. This weekend, we've got some fun stuff. There's fun stuff everywhere. In Shabance, SCW, Love and War is happening. They did a great job covering that this morning on the JFW podcast. I would say go watch that. I am certainly interested in the VJ Price versus Logan Steele match, the $100,000 body slam match. I want to know who's ponying up the 100 grand. BJ Price apparently is rich in real life, Wall Street, all that
His
stuff.
name is Price. I don't know.
The
what
price
he-
is 100,000 if somebody gets slammed. So I'd like to see who collects. So that's certainly a marquee thing. I would love to see Miles Mercer versus the Cobra. Poor Miles, one of the hardest strikers I've ever seen.
He'll be fine.
It'll be fine. Obviously, new champion James Creed will be taking on old asshole Scott Spade.
Hold on, timeout. Hey, Pax, if you can hear me, I know you're struggling over there because I'm struggling myself. So here's the deal. I'm going to post this thing up. Okay?
Okay.
Just hold on. So I'm going to leave that there. So if you miss it, you can always go back. Okay? Okay.
Sounds good.
Got it. You keep doing your stuff, but I was listening to his tone. I'm like, is he speeding up like we supposed to like?
We are at 7:15. We are approaching Grimm time. Went a little long on the CSW.
You did that to yourself.
Did that to myself. So now we're putting the foot on the pedal so we can be ready to go. Other matches include Matt Dewar teaming up with the one and only Acid Jazz, taking on Benny Bagas and Apex. That is an unlikely tag team. And to my knowledge, those are the only announced matches thus far. Although I did not get a chance to hear JFW, they may have had some of the high voltage stuff. So go.
I do have that. I do have
do.
that.
You have
I
8
do.
seconds. 8 seconds, Pax.
All
Go.
right. So we have the Freiberg, who's going to be going up against Omar.
That's 8.
You know what?
Shoot.
Just stop it. Let him be a dick. It's not your fault. You go ahead and stop right
No,
there.
you go ahead. Go. I'm just playing.
Don't even. You
No,
go.
I know. I got Omar versus Freiberg for the High Voltage Championship. Apex will be taking on Chaos, and the Amazing Turtle will be taking on KJ Carter.
Okay. So high voltage, that Travis doing big work. It's going to be a great show. High voltage at 6, the main show at 7. Love and Warren Shabance. Check it out. It's going to be fantastic. Can't wait to see who's doing the ring announcing. And I can't wait to see who they name as their new president, because this is the show where the new president is named. So it's very exciting times at Southland Championship Wrestling. Roller Derby is where I'll be this Saturday night. And we've got the Horrific Haunters taking on the Punk Rock Punishers in the first bout of 2024. It's the champs versus one of the teams that were not the champions this past year. Rion Skills, favorite skater, Beetlejuice will be in green, wearing green, doing green things, mean green, as they would say. What are your thoughts on bout number 1, 2024? This is where it all starts.
I don't have any, Steve.
You don't have any thoughts? Who do you think wins? Do you think the champs of 2023 start off 1-0, or do you think those Punk Rock Punishers come to town and upset the champs' coronation?
No, I'll do it this way. I'm not talking to you. So, people, look, I'm gonna tell you this right now. So I was asked by a couple of the people that are in charge at Roller Derby to be a fight ref again. And the fact that this man is trying to get me to pick someone while I'm going to actively be a fight ref, and probably the only one taking multiple ass whoopings in the process.
You already picked.
It's
We know who you
downright.
pick.
It's downright. No, you picked it, Steve.
You know who you pick.
The fact that this man is trying to get me in a position to where it's going to, I don't know what the fuck that, you know what? I'm about to leave.
What? You haven't even know your dinner yet.
Look, the fact that this man is trying to put me in a position, knowing that I am in a fight ref scenario, to where I'm going to take ass whoopings, and he's just going to sit there and be on commentary and say, "Hey, this is what's happening. Oh, look, real skills getting an ass whoop." It's downright fuckery.
It is
And
fuckery.
the only thing I can say with all of this happening is I know that both teams will do great, and hopefully it's a tie. There's no one, there's no one or no team or anything. And I hope no one comes to me after the fact if it's a tie. I haven't seen a tie, but I kind of hope that that's where it goes.
I have to believe there's a sudden death.
I'm fine with that. That gives me enough time to leave. Because the sudden
It
death,
could be your
anything
sudden
wrong,
death.
well, I don't care at that
Via
point.
ass whipping.
I'd rather I got shit to do the next day. I can only take so many ass whoopings. I know that you think it's funny, but especially now, I have to choose where I'm going to be, like, very wisely. Because as I've made it clear, one day I'm just gonna be gone.
The whiz.
And I'm preparing everyone for this one day.
Yes.
I'm not gonna tell anyone when it's gonna
It's going to
be.
happen in the wind.
And it's gonna be all fun and games until it's not. And then people are gonna like understand. But in the meantime, I don't want to take any unnecessary ass whooping. So I'm just gonna say they're both gonna do great. I hope it works out in a tie. And as a matter of fact, I hope this entire year is just a bunch of games that end up in ties. Until they get more fight refs. Until they get
just Switzerland all day. Rion Switzerland. That's your new name.
I'm fine with that. As long as I don't get multiple ass whoopings taking place that he gets the call. Are you fucking kidding me?
It's just good. It's good living is what it is. So come out, check out the knockouts. If Rachel were here, she could give us more in-depth analysis. But a fight ref and a commentator can only tell you that it's going to be
just be
one.
there. If you've never been,
you better
just
come.
Be there. And get there early because I've seen it sell out.
Sells out.
People just standing in the
get,
hallways.
Get mad. Don't get mad. Get there early.
Just get there.
If
you're not going to a wrestling show and you have time,
come on down.
Just
come to Homewood. It's a beautiful night. Come to the after party at the Rabbit Brewing after. It's a splendid time guaranteed for all. Knockouts 2024. I can't wait to be part of it. I'm planning on being there for the entire season. And I'm proud to be a part of it.
So that's me as Switzerland.
That's you as Switzerland. That's you in Switzerland.
That's fine.
You probably are wearing clogs. Although I think that's very Dutch, but that's open for discussion.
That's fine.
Then Sunday, if you please, we have IPW. We have two things that are on the table. We have the Second City Champion.
I will put the other one up. You can leave that one there, Pax.
Second City Championship is up for grabs as our champion, D'Angelo Steele, the architect of the steel cage from December, and his belt, Rachel, on the line against Joey Dalton, who is one crazy sumbitch. So that is going to be a prolific match. I'm not sure how Steele, as insane as he is, gets out of this one because insane is being met with more insane. So this is a match that it should be very, very cool, very, very interesting, and probably not for the faint of heart. So that is this Sunday in Richmond Park. And then, of course, you see the graphic for the Medallions tournament.
You're right.
A lot of superstars. My eyes aren't great.
No problem. I'm going to help you out.
You're going to help me out with that?
Just give me a second.
I see turtles in it, and am I in it?
No, you're not.
I am not in it.
Do you want to be in the street?
It's already completed. Even if I wanted to be in it, I couldn't be in it because I'm not on this graphic.
I know people, Steve.
I know you know people, but I'm not on it. It looks like it's plenty full.
I'm just saying if you got the time to do it.
I'm just saying that we are a week away, less than a week away from the show. The flyer is out. This is what you got.
I'm just saying, like it can be done, Steve.
No, I'm very happy with the way this looks. And there we got okay. So let's
a bunch of new people in there. Apparently,
we've got J.R. Lindsay, who is having a rough life right now. Got kicked out of his house and lost his girl because he decided to spear the girl. Probably decided to spear the people that he lives with because that's the kind of guy he is. Taking on Christian. I pick Christian. Christian wins that match.
As a side note, Christian has been a referee for most of the time. He is making his IPW debut as a competitor in this tournament.
We are going to get back to this before we end the show. But right now we are going to bring in our feature talent, our feature person, we are going to bring in the one and only Nate Grimm, all the way from China. And we'll give him a few moments to get himself logged in and figure out the Zoom situation that we're involved in right now. Grimm was one of the first people in this business in a faction that I thought was cool. So, and there he
What's
is,
up, guys?
the man, the myth, and the legend, all the way from the Far East. How are you, Nate?
Good. How you guys doing? Thank you for having me on.
Thank you for wanting to be a part of this. That made my day, made my week for leading up to this. So it's good to have you on here. What time is it right now officially where you're at?
9:24 Wednesday morning.
All right, so you're already experiencing Wednesday as we're still here on Tuesday.
Yeah, exactly.
In the future is what he's.
You're in the future.
Yeah.
So he can tell you your future.
Yep.
When are you leaving and where are you going? That he can tell you all of it.
Good.
So how you guys doing?
We are
How you
doing
guys
good.
doing?
And we got a lot to talk about with you. I want to start with it's been a while since you and I have spoken. And you have been in China for how long now?
6 years.
What happened in your life that brought you from here to there?
Well, first of all,
Wait.
Is that a bad question?
No, hold on.
No, I'll answer it.
Okay, I was just saying that you don't have to say all the stuff. I'm just saying you can say what you want, but I'm just letting you know you don't have to say all of it. Okay, does that make sense?
What are you pertaining to?
Hey, I'm just saying.
All right, no. Okay, I got you.
Right. Okay.
No, yeah. All right. Yeah. Well, I was wrestling for a while, and then I stopped wrestling, and I was in the midst of getting a real job, right? So my mom, she has the hookup because she used to be a part of SEIU, right? The Service Employees International Union. So I was trying to get a job with them. But before that, I wanted to check out another country. Preferably, actually, I wanted to go to Japan just to check it out for, half a year, 1 year. But at the time, I didn't have enough money in my bank account, and they require around 30K if you're going to live there for a year, right? So I decided on China instead. And then once I got to China, I enjoyed it a little bit. And then after 6 months, I met my current wife. So that's how it ended, right? I couldn't leave anymore.
The lure of China. It rises and sets with a young lady. So there's hello. What is it? What is her name?
Now we got a kid. So
yeah, I've seen that. Congratulations.
What
is your wife's name?
Her English name or her Chinese name?
I'll take whatever you want to give me.
All right, well, I'll give you both. Her English name is River, because when she was younger, she used to have a crush on River Phoenix. So that's
yeah. And that's hey, if you're gonna have your name, that works for me.
Yeah, so that's her English name, but her Chinese name is He Shui Qian.
I like them both. Very elegant. Yeah. And then they're very quick here on the Power Hour to put up all the photographs. And that must be your little one. Tell us a little bit about fatherhood and that young person there.
Yeah, man, it's difficult. It's difficult, but it's very rewarding, right? There's not many things in my life that I think made me more mature, but that was the one thing that I can tell that it's changed me, right? It's changed me for the better, and you can't really put it into words, right? It's just something. Once you have a kid, you can feel it, you recognize it, you have this I don't know if it's instinctual or primal or something, but you want her to have the best life, you want to protect her no matter what, you want her to have the best education, whatever, the best you can give her as a father, right? So then that kind of puts my ass gets me into a different kind of headspace as to how I'm going to live my life. Or because I will say in the past, I haven't really been in the best headspace when it comes to life path and whatnot. I've been just wanting to do whatever the fuck I want, pretty much, right?
Well,
But
hey, I
now
mean
I can't do that. I
that's
can't
as
do
good.
that anymore.
That is a fantastic reason to change. What is the young
Yeah.
lady's name?
Rose.
She is absolutely adorable.
Thanks.
Absolutely
Thank you.
adorable. You have done very well, both in spouse and child. So congratulations to you, my friend. You have made a journey in 6 years and you have lived well. And we're all very happy for you.
Thanks. Thank you, guys. Thank you for the kind words. Appreciate it.
So you are here and you've got your son in China, and you said you were out of wrestling for a while. What there brought you back into it? What happened that said, I think I want to get back into it? So how did you get there?
Well, actually, I've been trying to get back into wrestling here since I want to say 2018, right? But before I used to live in a city in China called Xi'an. So when I was in Xi'an is a different place. Now I live in Guangzhou. Guangzhou is like right across the ocean from Hong Kong. So Guangzhou is a completely different city. It's more international, right? They're more open to foreigners. They speak Cantonese as opposed to Mandarin, which is the mainland language. They speak both here, but it's just a different vibe, right? So Xi'an was much more traditional, and it was hard for me to find anything about pro wrestling in China. But you guys know it as TikTok, but here obviously TikTok is from China. So here it's called Douyin, right?
An
So
entirely
Douyin,
different beast. I've been
yeah,
looking ever since we talked. I've been keeping up with that. Holy crap! Oh,
yeah, it's weird, man.
it's a whole other. Yeah,
Yeah,
Go
it's
ahead.
odd. I mean, for an American, yeah, it's
So it's
strange
great.
to say
It's
the
great. But since talking
least.
with you, I'm like, wait, what? No, it's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, it's bizarre, but yeah. So actually, on Douyin on TikTok, I was able to catch glimpses of a few different Chinese wrestlers out here, and they were wrestling for different companies. And before, there used to be a few companies. There was one called OWE, which was Oriental Wrestling Entertainment, which is very like kung fu based, but they were mixing wrestling in it. And there was another one called MKW, which is still around, and KOPW, which is the company I work for. Right. So I've seen all of these, but in particular, I got into contact. Well, my wife did at first. She got into contact with a wrestler named Chen Wenbing, or his English name is King of Man. So this wrestler, I seen him and I messaged him and said I'm interested in trying to get into wrestling, and he said okay. He had a training center, I guess you can say, and in Guangdong, this province. But I was working in Xi'an at the time, so I couldn't really make time. And then when I wanted to come to see him and try to get intertwined with it in 2019, COVID hit. So then we were shut down for the next, 2 years, 2.5 years. So that fucked everything up.
I have a question for you, if it's possible.
Yeah.
So you mentioned COVID.
Mm.
I know out here, at least from what I was seeing, that there were a lot of people that had COVID but didn't realize what was happening until they announced what was going on there. How was it there? Like, I'm just curious, like as far as, because I'm just going time frame wise, like how
Yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
It
like how
was similar.
there?
It was similar. It was like what was it, the end of 2019, right? This around December, the
Yep.
government came out and said people are getting sick, be careful. And over here, Chinese New Year happens in February, right?
Right, and
So
that's why I
it
was
just
curious, like
happened.
how does
Yeah, yeah. So they were just sending out warnings like, oh, be careful, and wear your mask, do all of this kind of bulletins or whatever. And then they decided to allow travel within this time, uh, during that February, so
Wow.
2020. Yeah, so then when that happened, they fucking shut everything down.
Yeah, that's
Like,
how I was
right,
like,
because then it spread because of Chinese New Year. I guess they didn't want to lose the money during that time frame, right? Because that's obviously it's all about money. So then when that happened, they just fucking, it spread like wildfire, and there you go. Then we were, I'm talking about, different cities had different policies, right? But it was pretty much a top-down policy all over the country, which was, lock it down. And especially where I used to live in Xi'an, much more conservative, we were on strict lockdown. I'm talking about you couldn't go outside of your community. Like, it was that crazy.
there were spots in Chicago that were like that in the loop. Like
Yeah.
I could not, and I'm just going based off of my experience. When I walked around that first summer during COVID and saw no one on the street,
It was crazy.
like I
Yeah.
couldn't
Ghost
like
town.
that is and just think about like you and I like in the loop, like how that worked,
Yeah.
how it used to be. Can you imagine no one being in the loop?
No, I can't.
Yeah, like
Yeah, I
that's
still can't.
insanity. Like at like 10:30 in the morning, no one's walking
Yeah.
around. Like no one's. So I could just imagine how it would be like out there. Like I couldn't even like
Wild.
yeah. Like I'm looking at these photos now that's on here, and I can just imagine like that just not like just people
God.
not out. That's nuts.
Yeah, wild, man. Super wild.
What was it
Yeah,
like
but
being
that's
in China, having COVID kind of originate there? I mean, we know how it was here. I mean, everybody's like blame China, being
yeah.
there. It must have been wacky.
I will say, uh, let's just say that China, like the government itself, they deflect blame, right? They don't. They say, they won't say it directly, right? But they'll say that, oh, maybe it was a CIA thing, right? They'll
Okay.
infer it, right? They'll infer that maybe they wanted to do this to try to destabilize us and this and that, right? I mean, it's all a big game anyway. So, I mean,
100%.
at the end of the day, who really benefited from it, right? So, I guess you can say, people who make masks, right? Especially here in China, right? Like
It's those damn
the
mask
mask
companies.
No, but I'm saying they also benefited from it. Bill Gates benefited from it. People,
Hand
Moderna,
sanitizer
all the.
became very popular during COVID.
But
So it was those
all I'm,
companies.
that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying, but it's at the end of the day, politicians are going to do what politicians do, and they're going to try to spin a situation to make themselves look better, right?
We
Or
all live
to,
under
to,
one
to
big
or
sun.
to deflect blame. That's all I'm going to say.
That's all we do. That's our calling card.
I can't dive too deep into it
I was
because I
gonna
mean,
No. We don't.
I live here.
I was gonna say if this was off the air, then by all means, but I don't think
I kind of regretted asking the question when I'm like,
No,
oh
he
shit,
did
I don't
right.
want to get him in
So
trouble.
he did right. He did exactly what he was supposed to. He did right. He did right. If
Yeah.
I had said something like that, it would have been, he did right. He did 100%. Good job.
Yeah, I've tried to be a little bit more diplomatic now that I'm older.
Yeah, because that could have went so wrong so fast.
So let's go back to the
Yeah.
wrestling part of it. Rion had a
Sure.
picture up there of PCW, and I always like the PCW picture because that's where I started, and that's where I met Rion. And I don't remember. I remember you from CTW and Dominion. I don't remember, but I was only in PCW for like 3 shows, and then it went away. But there's this picture. There you are doing Rion's skill stuff. Is this a faction I don't know about?
This was Jonathan Rowe's Gentleman's Row.
Okay, so tell us a little. This is the origin story of Grimm and Rion, and I want to hear about it because this was a little before me.
Okay.
Sure. Actually, I can start at first, and then
Yeah,
you
go
can
ahead.
go
Go
into
ahead.
the faction part. So, actually, I started training in 2012, right? So in 2012, I started training in PCW. I met I met Bryce, right, Jared Priest, and he's the one that signed me. I signed the waiver, whatever, the paid tuition to start training. Then I started training there 4 days a week, and then after 3 weeks, Brandon or Victor Wade, he starts literally almost at the same exact time. So then me and him became pretty tight, right? And then after that, we had our characters. We were helped with our characters with by Rion. Rion would run a class. Each there was 3 different trainers. Rion, oh no, 4 different trainers. Rion was one of them, and his class was mainly based around like in-ring psychology and this kind of shit. Jared Priest he was more of like a balanced. I don't even know how he was a bit of everything. Bryce, he would do conditioning, he would do psychology, character work, everything. There was Jay Phoenix. Jay Phoenix was hardcore conditioning,
Hey.
and so was Rick Rocket. Yeah, Jay Phoenix was like we would do a lot of like technique based stuff, right? Like we would do technical wrestling with Jay, but it was mostly, I'm gonna say, like if it was a 3 hour practice, or no, what was it, 2.5 hours, right? Two and a
Yeah,
half hour
2.5.
practice. Yeah, 2.5 hour practice. He's doing at least an hour and a half of condition.
This
It
shit
was
was
ridiculous.
rough.
Yeah, yeah.
And
And
I was
so,
one of the
and
trainers at that time. That shit was
yeah,
rough.
yeah. Even Rick Rocket was similar as well, but he would do more, I would say, like arm drags and hip tosses and this kind of stuff, right? More sequence based. Uh, but then me and Brandon, they had me as the heel, Brandon as the face. He was Van Wright at first, and
Yep.
then we were coming up at the same time. And then uh, I forgot. I think my first match was against Wally. If I don't, yeah, I think it was.
Normally
It was
Wally.
against.
Normally your first match.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
No matter who it is, normally your first match is
yeah,
Wally.
yeah. It was Wally Wild, and his was against Phoenix, I believe. And then they just kept us on a similar trajectory. We're rookies, so the first year we're losing most of our matches. And then after 6 months of us having matches, then they had us fight each other at our first Dream Night. And I was the heel, he was the baby face. And then, uh, yeah, he beat me. And then we keep going with it. And they, then after a while, I had a bit of an episode. Let's just say that happened. I had a something happened. Let's say
Good, good job. Good job.
something happened.
I'll
Uh,
tell you. I'll tell you all from here. I'll tell you all
yeah,
from here. But yeah,
let's
go
just
ahead.
say, I lost my mind a bit, and then
Yeah.
when this happened, but I will say before I move on, I did lose my mind a bit, but I was a bit triggered by let's just say there was people PCW. I mean, all wrestling in general, but same thing like what we're talking about, China and the U.S. It's all political. So me at the time, I'm not able to recognize it because I'm young and dumb, and I'm trying to like be friends with everybody without actually seeing what's going on, right? And there's let's just say there was some people who didn't like me, and that's it. And it fucked me up,
Probably the
and
best
me
way to,
also,
yeah.
yeah. And whatever else was going on in my life, like I let it consume me. Let's say that. That's
Right.
a better word. I let it consume me, and I went a little. I was out of pocket. I
You know
went
about
a little
pocket
nuts.
here. You know about pocket.
I went a little, yeah, I went a little crazy, and then so instead of firing me, I guess they put me with Rion, and then that's how
You are the
that's
official
how his
keeper.
faction.
You're the official keeper
That's
of the
how.
pocket.
That's literally what happened. That's probably the best way he can explain without giving any details. That's the best way.
But actually, the specific details were never given to me about that happening. But I just know that that's what
That's
happened
what.
because.
But I'm in the same boat as you. I just think it's funny because they literally like, because I was already heavyweight champ at that point. So it was
Yeah, I
me
remember.
and Jenna, and they had like split our group up to where it was just us. So then
Mm,
they gave us Aaron Cruz, he had came back. And they was like, oh,
yeah.
you just run with Jenna. You were there with her before. I'm like, oh, all right, cool. That's fine. And then there's like, you're taking Grimm. Oh, okay. What do you that's it? We just take him. There's no reason for it. No, you just no, he'll probably do well with you. So you don't have a direction for him. You don't want to. So we could just take him and just make him one of us. All right, and that's so instead of us making him one of us, we let him be who he felt he was at the time while keeping the flag open, if that makes any sense. Like we were like
Mm,
if you look at the singlets, like all of that is like his idea, but I went so far as like if you're gonna go this way, I'm gonna do this, like to make him comfortable. Does that make sense in the way that like how it was described? Like it's like Jenna, her whole thing was that she wanted to make sure that it was a scenario where if we're gonna be a team, we're gonna be a team no matter what. Because we already had a team and they took that.
yeah.
So we were like, if they're gonna give us another team anyway, then we should all be comfortable with what's happening around us because I don't want to say we felt like we were being put in a position to fail, but both myself and Grimm were like, why are you here? Like, what are we
Yeah.
doing? But my whole
Yeah.
thing,
I had
like, if
no
you're
idea.
right, and my thing was, if you're going to be with us, then you might as well have fun while you're doing it. And
Mm,
Where have
and
I heard that before?
and you could see it like
Every
as we
week.
were doing stuff, you could see like he was getting more comfortable in his own skin, and he was able to do certain things with us and with Cruz. That was the thing that was more difficult than anything else because where he was able to train with me, Cruz wasn't around as much.
yeah.
So we kind of
But I
had
will say,
Tom.
what you said though, because they put me in that faction that made me and Cruz de facto like tag team while you were the singles guy,
Mm-hmm.
right? So like you said, it did help me actually, like because all that shit was going down, like because I had you there, and even Jenna, like I didn't know her that well. I was, nothing personal with her, but she was cool within the group. She made me feel comfortable. She was chill, right? She was like, "Yeah, you do your thing," and then Cruz as well. Cruz was cool as hell, and
Oh
he
man,
like helped me. He helped me through everything, right? And
legit.
because
Like
like
I watched that
yeah,
firsthand. Like
yeah. And he helped me even when I was, in the shit mentally. Like he was just like, it's all good, man. Come on, do this, do this. And I had some, I would say, great tag team matches with him and with Wally and Brandon as well. And I was just like, damn, okay, this is a tag team match. I'm like, okay, like this is how you work tags. It's completely different than a singles match.
you are still recognized as the last PCW tag champ. So yeah,
Yeah.
internet
Won him on
don't
the
lie.
last show,
Photo
got him
right there.
taken away. All right.
Yeah, it's there, and with Wally Wild on the ground. Like that was your first matches with Wally. The last one was there with Wally. So that's
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
I often wonder how different things would be right now in the landscape of this business if PCW didn't fold and just kept going. I wonder where we would all be right now if it stayed the way it was and just kept growing.
You want an honest response to that?
Well, I just I only got to work there a short time and it was the time
Yeah,
of my
I
life.
do.
I can tell you that if it did stay around, there would be a lot of the organizations that are currently running, they would end up in different spots. Not because of them not having the talent or anything of the sort, but PCW at the time was they had a lot of territory to run through. Case in point, CSW over Franklin Park.
Uh-huh.
That was us. We were there like that. Like just think about not using that building.
Yeah, I remember because that was one of the shows that I did.
That's what I'm
I
like.
was
Like,
there.
let's
Yeah,
think about that. Like, we've been praising CSW as far as like Franklin Park, and they've got some amazing crowds. But you were there,
I was there.
and PCW was there for a bit.
Franklin Park.
Huh?
Franklin Park, you said?
Yeah. There's another crew over there now, and they're doing tremendous over there.
Nice.
But we're there first.
Yeah. I was there. That was one of the shows I did there. We did Midlothian, and then we did, I forget where the final one was. It was
For a while we were doing Stega.
what was the last one, the last show? The one with Ricky the Dragon.
Addison.
Yeah, that's the last so I did one in Midlothian,
Addison.
I did one in Franklin Park, and then the final was in Addison. So that was
Addison, that's where Powell was for a little bit.
that's where
before
Vic
they moved.
Capri fell off the balcony and went through 97 tables in that match.
Yeah, against Joe Heisman.
That's it. That was the finale.
Yeah.
And then obviously PCW went away, and I thought my wrestling career was over three shows into it. And then all of a sudden, Crash Tested Wrestling shows up. And that is where I got to know you a little bit in a little faction called the Dominion. Now, Dominion to me was one of the coolest things about Crash Tested because it was just a great faction. I don't know why I'm just telling you how I felt.
No.
I was just a commentator.
You keep talking, but I got a story about them. You keep
I'm
talking
telling you
about it. You
that
keep talking about
Dominion was so good that James Storm came in and said, "Fuck you, I'm stealing your shit," and then took it to TNA. And all of a sudden, I thought Dominion was taking over fucking TNA.
He denies it.
He's full of shit, is what he is.
Yeah,
Now,
I know he is. I thought he was cool until he fucking denied it straight.
Stole your shit is what he did.
On Twitter, he denied it. So
yeah, he can deny it all he wants. I know where I saw those masks first.
Thank you. At least we get some recognition somewhere.
They had a gimmick.
It was awesome.
Yeah, we did.
James Storm. The only issue that I had with it, and this is just from everyone being younger, was that there were certain things I was like, hey, you guys are gonna have to do something a little bit different before they end up like sicking the hounds on you, so to speak. Because at that time they were working with me directly, and I knew they would move me out of it. So I'm like, okay, this is cool, and I can work around it. But there's going to be some people that aren't going to have the patience to want to work around it. And lo and behold,
and what do you mean? Yeah. So what do you mean by that? Like when I was younger, I really didn't understand what you were trying to say.
So what was happening in the back, and I can say this now, is that because it was pretty much the remaining PCW like trainees.
Yeah, and, of course.
With the exception of like Miles Mercer and David Desire. So I got to work with you all firsthand. Now, because I was in a feud with you all. And knowing that this feud was going to take place, I'm like, okay, if I'm going to be tied to you guys for a year, then we have to make it to where everyone, like, you guys have to be like in sync with one another in order for things to happen. And my biggest fear was they were going to move me out of it too early, put you guys with someone way more advanced, so to speak, as far as like TV timing, like how it currently is with the Ring of Honor, like the fast-paced deals.
Yeah.
And make it to where they're just running through their stuff, and if you don't catch up, they'll just go through it. And lo and behold,
that's what they did.
And that was my biggest thing, because my whole thing was they're not ready yet to be moved on to do this other thing. Let me work with them and go from there. And they was like, no, this gimmick is hot right now. Okay, that's fine. But I'm telling you, I've been working with them for a good 6 to 8 months, like in training and in the ring. What you're asking them to do, especially at that particular pace, isn't going to benefit them for later. You're going to end up burying them because you want to put this like that's not going to help.
And actually, at the time, like we didn't have that much. How can you say? Because the PCW shut down, and then we just went straight into CTW. We didn't have that many matches, singles matches where we're going at that pace, right? We didn't have the. I would say now I can go at that pace, but this is,
Yeah,
years
yeah.
later, right? You've seen my current matches, right?
Hmm.
So now I can go at the pace, but at the time, I mean, we didn't need to, and we were doing everything was character based, right?
Yep.
So so then we go in there and they put us against, I'll say, against zero gravity.
Yep.
And when they put us against zero gravity, these guys come in and they want to they're throwing everything at the wall. They're like, okay, we want to do this, 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 every little minute detail. In a 15-minute match, they're putting in like fucking 50 moves. I'm just like, yo, what is happening right now, man? I'm like, this is bullshit.
And
And actually, in the match, everything was going fine. But then I did fuck one thing up. And I fucked up like I forgot what it was. It was a spot where I was supposed to, he threw me to the outside or I threw him. It went like this. Once this happened, one of the dudes, not the redhead dude, another guy. I forgot the redhead guy,
oh,
what his
okay, yeah,
name
yeah,
was.
yeah.
But
Okay.
Esparza, I think the redheaded guy was
Hmm.
Esparza. But he
CJ.
was good.
I
He
know.
was cool about it. He was cool. The other dude, like in the match, lost his fucking mind. And then he wasn't helping us after that. He was just like fucking you know what I mean? And then he was just like pissed off at every little thing. And I'm just like, all right, man, whatever, let's just go through the shit. And then when this happened, I was just mostly just freestyling. I like, okay, we're doing this, 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 and this. And he also didn't like that because he wanted to continue
But
to go through the spots
you've been
to
trained
do
to
that.
be able to, like, if something goes wrong, you've been trained
Just keep
to
going.
call it. Like, you've been trained to call it. But
I was trained the exact opposite of what he wanted me to do, was to continue going through the shit that we just fucked up. Right?
and
Like go through that over and over again. And I'm just like, bro, like obviously it didn't work out. So
you'd be surprised how many people do not understand the idea of calling it on the fly. Like
no,
you, like I'm dead.
I mean, I see
Like
it out here.
man, like
So
like it's so weird. Like just that concept alone, at least out here, is becoming a lost art to where something.
I mean,
Yeah, but
same. I
go ahead.
mean, I think in wrestling in general, because
Yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah.
because here in China, I mean, it's similar, right? It's very indie based, right? Very indie based. Because I mean, you have to think about it in NXT, WWE, those guys like Randy Orton and Zayn. Like, you really think these guys are calling every single move before the match? Come on, like it doesn't make sense. Like it doesn't. It becomes robotic. It's almost like it's more like a fucking dance, choreographed routine, as opposed to like you're having an actual fight.
Which is fine, but I also know if there's certain dance routines you don't put together. Like it's certain, like you can
Yeah,
do that and be okay with it, but that's something you have to kind of like talk with someone directly. If you have, there's a reason why they have a freestyle dance scenario. Like there's a reason
yeah,
for
exactly. Yeah,
like it just
yeah, but I see it out here too in China, because they take a lot of influence out here from Japan, right? So it's kind of a mixture of Japan and the US, like AW mixed with strong style wrestling from Japan, and
that was going
that's
to
the
be the
kind of vibe.
question that I had. I had a question about that. Like I've
Mm.
seen your matches and I've seen how it's set up, but I was curious as far as the overall wrestling culture. Like what would you describe it as? But you pretty much answered that. So yeah.
Yeah, and it's a mixture of everything. So like me, I would be more character based, but I have to. Well, some of the guys, not all of them, but with some of the guys, like the matches I showed you, I have to go pretty fast, right? Like I have to
Mhm.
keep up fast pace with a guy like this, and that's another thing I'll say. KOPW, they've been around since 2018, and they had Zach Gibson was here, Riho, like Ho Ho Loon, who was a wrestler that was in NXT for a while, but now he's in Japan,
Yep.
and he comes still for shows. Jason Lee was part of he wrestled for us, and was in the Cruiserweight Classic, right? In the WWE. So like that's the kind of style they like. They like this fast-paced style, but they'll also have different types of matches, like hardcore matches. And look, that's not my cup of tea, but uh, they like it, right? They like the variety. They
Gotta
like
serve it. Like you gotta
characters.
serve it.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
there's no way
Of
around it.
course, of course. And that's actually to me, that's what makes KOPW the best organization in China, is because you have all of these different flavors, right?
Mhm.
And but the concept is still KOPW, right? But for somebody who doesn't like all that violence, most of the younger kids will fucking go crazy for that shit. Like I used to with ECW and Attitude Era, right? They're like, oh fuck. Like even me with Butcher when I was in PCW, I was like, damn, I want to have a match like that. Now that I'm 33, I'm like, I never want to have a match like that. That's me now. Like hell, no.
He doesn't
Unless
watch this, but shout out to the butcher. I love that dude. That dude was great.
no, he was awesome. That was another veteran who was awesome, cool in
Yeah.
my book. But yeah, so now that I'm older, I don't ever want to have a match like that unless I'm getting paid big bucks, right? There's no fucking reason to. Like even the types of matches I have now where I'm taking bump after bump after bump. When I was younger, I didn't really care. I wanted to be like Dolph Ziggler a bit, where I'm flopping and going
Okay.
crazy and like. But now, like I'm like, okay, that shit hurt. Okay, let's do it like this. Like
It
okay,
only takes one. It's only takes one because it for the longest of time, especially when I was in PCW and CTW, and even with Rocket Pro, I would
Mm.
get in positions like, okay, I can do this. It's fine. It's fine. But it only takes one bump to like, wait, what are we doing? Why are we doing
and you
this?
used
I have
and
no comment.
actually
I have absolutely
and
no comment.
you actually you and I forgot who else it was, but you used to tell me that where you're just like, hey, like you're making the other guy look too strong. Like look at how tall you are, look at how big you are, and you're fucking like doing a like the Rock taking a stunner, right? Like what are you doing? Like
But
you
for
would tell
every
me this,
move,
and
for every move,
yeah, I
it's like
know,
you tell, like, wait, he get stuck? No, he didn't get stuck. That was a punch. Like every move you're doing, I'm like, God
yeah,
damn.
yeah. So that's another part of my game. I would say that I improved upon, and I remember you telling me that that stuck with me because I'm like, yeah, actually, it doesn't make sense for me to take that kind of bump for a guy who's half my size.
Like mass on mass, you have to recognize what it is. And
Yeah.
I know that especially with indie wrestling, like there's ways of getting around it, but
Mm,
just to do it for the sake of doing it doesn't help anyone. Like I'm
yeah.
fine with it as long as there's a reason for it to take place. That
Yeah.
that has always been my thing. I am 100% fine with someone your size going in and being flopped around by someone that's smaller, but you better have lost your
It has
balance,
to be in a
got, like
yeah,
equilibrium,
yeah.
like something that's have to have
Yeah.
happened.
Like
The
a Rey Mysterio kind of thing, like where
yes,
he's tripping you up and it makes
yeah,
sense. It's logical.
to
It's
where
not
you
just like
don't
he's
have your balance.
overpowering me. Yeah.
Yes, yeah,
I have literally watched Rion teach this for the last 2 years everywhere we've worked. About making sense. The opponent's
Mm,
size to size. It's what he's saying right now. It's funny to listen to him now because I have been in the middle of it, and it's continuity is amazing. Let's talk about
yeah.
KOPW, and they
Sure.
put some graphics up. I want to know about your character now that you're there, because I remember, the last time I saw you, it was you and Ripper and my favorite cool faction, Dominion, and now here you
Thanks.
are at KOPW all these years later. But this is not the Grimm I knew. This is something altogether different. Talk a little bit about your
Yeah.
character.
Well, yeah. So the name is the Reaper, Nate Grimm. So obviously, before it used to be Nathaniel Grimm, but to me that's a little bit too biblical, right? And it doesn't
yeah.
come off the tongue like it's not like Nathaniel. It sounds a little, you
It
know.
worked. It worked in Gentleman's Row, like
Yeah, it did. It did.
because
It
of
did.
what was happening. It worked in Gentleman's Row, but
Yeah, yeah, it did. But then, so Nate, I just think has more of a ring to it. Nate Grimm, and then the Reaper is because of the promos I was putting out here. Like it's pretty much like just an evolved version of my old character. So my old character was like a conspiracy theorist, and so now, whatever government's after you, blah blah blah, fluoride in the water, whatever kind of conspiracy you can think of. That's what it was back in. That was my vision for a PCW and CTW with the mask. You hide behind your masks, whatever.
I still
Now,
love that fucking promo, man. I still love that promo you guys cut when you came out. That still resonates with me to this day.
thanks. Yeah, I mean that we definitely had good chemistry. Uh, as a group, especially me, Brandon, and Tracy. Uh, yeah, we had good chemistry together. But yeah, in KOPW, it's a evolved version of that, and I'm not necessarily a conspiracy theorist. I'm more of like a cynical realist, I guess you can say. And I also believe in like witchcraft, right? Like that. Like I'm into the dark arts, so to speak. So it's not necessarily like the Undertaker. I'm not there pretending like I'm dead, right? It's not like that. But and this is based off of because my family, they're my mom's side of the family, she's from Mexico, right? So my aunties back in the day, they actually believe in like brujeria, right, which is black magic. So I'm kind of into that kind of shit, but I'm not into it like I'm there summoning demons or anything. It's not like that. But I've always I've always been into like tarot cards and this kind of shit, right? Tarot cards, palm readings, like anything metaphysical, or you can say spiritual in that aspect. I'm into it. Even if I might not necessarily believe everything, but I do think there's something out there that we as humans are too stupid to understand, right? So this is what I'm trying to delve deep into that and the Reaper. I've seen the light at the end of the tunnel, and I live to tell the tale, right? So I'm able to. My point is to try to bring whatever it is that I seen there, or whatever it is I felt I seen at the time, to somebody now, right? I want to make them feel like, holy fuck, something's literally wrong with this guy, but he's telling the truth, right? He believes what he's saying, but something's really fucking wrong. Like something's up, like some deep trauma within him.
The best way I can describe it using, I guess, from a WWE standpoint is take Drew McIntyre's arc, his character, as far
Currently,
as, say it again.
his current
Yes,
arc.
take
Yeah,
his
yeah, yeah.
current arc and add a spiritual aspect to it. And that's
Kind
probably
of,
the
yeah,
best way I can like explain, because
yeah,
he's not wrong in the way that he handles it, but he's definitely a hypocrite in the way that he does things.
yeah. Oh, for sure, for sure. So me,
At a
even me. Yeah, go ahead, go.
yeah, and in the drop of a dime, he can go ahead and flip and be a face or a heel. It's just how he feels that day. Whereas with
Mm,
you, and this is just because I've seen it firsthand, it is a scenario where that's not me. The devil made me do it. It's like it's
yeah,
that like that's probably the best way I can explain it from what I've seen.
yeah,
Like it's not your actions. This is the things that I've seen on the other side of this fence that you're
yeah.
to
And
see.
then, and that's funny you said that, because then I also blame the audience, right? Like it's like
Mhm.
I'm trying to, because you people are so stupid. You're so brainwashed and so culturally programmed that you can't see outside of your little boxes that this guy is your hero, and I'm trying to save him from you, so I have to whoop his
What he's
ass.
doing right now, he's done to 400 people. He's done that thing while whooping someone's ass. He's done that very
Yeah.
thing to, so that it's nuts. It is nuts the way
So
that his
so
character, how it's evolved. It's tough. Go
so
ahead.
I definitely feel like I'm more since being in China, because I had my first match back last April. No, June.
June.
Right. So that was my
Yeah.
first match back. And that first match back, I was like, oh fuck, I'm blown up. Like I don't like, but when I went back and looked, I thought it was worse than it was. Then when I looked at it, I was like, damn, like if I get training again, if I get back into the habit, like I'm much better than I was. and I know I'm much better than I was just because of my mindset now, and just because the way I view wrestling has changed over the years, right? Because I've only watched as a fan the last few years, but I not as a normal fan because I'm a wrestler, so I would watch with like a student's eye and be like, why do you do it that way? That's stupid. I would do it this way, right? As opposed to before, like I just want to become something. I want to be a star. I want to do this. I want to be the best. Right now is not necessarily want to be the best, but I want to be the best version of Nate Grimm. Right. I don't want to be just the top of the card. Right? I want to make people go, holy fuck, what is this guy doing? This guy is really, whether you like me, which I don't really want them to like me, or hate me, right? I want them to really like, fuck this piece of shit. I want them to fucking die. That's what I
Which
want.
has happened. That has definitely happened.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the big show that's coming up. Let's talk about what
Sure.
you're doing now and what you're building toward.
Sure. So, so actually, in a couple weeks, we're having a show in Shanghai, but this is not KOPW. It's another company called Infin, and actually, um, he was the former champion on MKW. So MKW is called Middle Kingdom Wrestling, and they're another company based in Shanghai. Uh, that guy, his name is Ma, another Chinese dude. He was the champion, and then the other guy, Adrian Gomez, is from the States, uh, but he created MKW, and they were on Talk is Jericho actually.
Yeah.
They were both on Talk is Jericho, but then there was, they just had their biggest show of the year. Something happened, whatever, some political stuff, and now the former champion he has his own company. So now I'm gonna go and wrestle for his company, and he's using a lot of crossovers, right? He's using guys from Japan. He's using me from KOPW, a few other guys from KOPW, MKW, just to have like a kind of like a all-star show, right? So it's called Infin, in like in and then fin, like
Right.
that's literally, I don't know what it stands for, to be honest, but Infin Wrestling. Jason Lee, Ho Ho Loon will be there. The guy I wrestled, I showed you, Rian, King of Man. King of Man, like, I would say a lot of the talent here in China is, it's unfortunate that they don't have, that big of a market in China yet, because these would be considered, even to me, some of the better workers in the States if they were able to work in the States.
It's so weird that you say that, because it was just from a conversation that we had previously. Like, so hold on a sec. So he was explaining to me that the guy that he was wrestling was like borderline like John Cena in popularity.
Okay.
And I was like, that can't be a thing. Like, like it can't. But then watching this, and I'm like, oh wow. Like just the way that he handles stuff, even not so much him wrestling as John Cena, but just the popularity and like them like watching things that he does, like good or bad, they're in it. And the first thing I said was
Yeah, no matter
like,
what he's doing.
like that's just one guy. Like, and it's just the way like,
Yeah.
but he's doing things that you would see like Miles do. Look, does that make sense?
It does.
Like, but they're like, oh my God, what is it? And it's like there's dudes like.
Yeah, and the only difference is that they're mixing in strong style. That's literally the
Yeah,
only difference. That's it.
Yeah,
And that's why, for me, being a character helps me stick out more, because a lot of, it's not to no fault of their own, but they weren't trained with a character in mind, right? They just want to go and wrestle,
because
right?
they're competing.
Yeah, that's it. They're treating it more like a sport or sports oriented, and they
Mhm.
have like a loose idea. But China's a totally different world, right? It's not like they don't have the same what's the word, like the creative mind that we have. They think differently.
Yeah,
They like different things, right? So culturally, what we think is cool, they might not think is as cool, right?
Mhm.
So this is the point. Like, they go out there and they don't really have characters in the same way that we have characters. Some guys do, and the guys who do they stick out because they
Very
actually
much
have
so.
characters.
Very much
And
so.
then there's guys, yeah, and then there's also guys that are like, like anywhere else, like a Dolph Ziggler or whatever, like King of Man. Like, he is like a fantastic wrestler, but now his character is also great because he has such a following. He can play that Chinese John Cena, like I'm fighting for China, right? Like this kind of like I did. That's pretty much what it was. Like I fought him in his hometown as well. I had 2 matches
Yeah,
against him,
like that was a whole
and the
other
whole
thing. I was
crowd,
like, they hate this
holy
dude.
shit.
They hate him. This
Yeah, and I
foreigner
can thank
comes in
him for
here
that.
getting ready to beat Chinese Johnson. Like that whole thing, just watching that match. I'm like, this is what is happening? Like this, it's but that's the best way I can explain it. It was literally the
Yeah,
foreigner guy coming in and beating up Chinese John Cena.
yeah, it's
They
still a thing out here. Nationalism. It's big. And now, actually, in KOPW. Oh, sorry, my bad. Back to KOPW.
So yeah,
So yeah, KOPW. We will have our next match here in Guangzhou. They haven't confirmed the location yet, but it'll be on March 23rd. So I'll be defending my title, actually, the
nice,
CWE
nice.
Championship, uh, which means Chinese Wrestling Entertainment. CWE also was like the first Chinese wrestling company. It started in 2015, but now it's defunct. But the old owner works for us as well. We use their championship, right? Like it's all a collaboration in China because they're still trying to grow the market, right? So
Side note, this is just a side note for you directly. I haven't forgot. I have to take care of other stuff. I have not forgotten. Okay.
no, it's all good. It's all good.
Okay. All right.
No, it's all good. Yeah, I was all no problem. I was also, we're also doing shit out here, so I'm just,
Okay. Then all right. Then you are. Yeah.
yeah, it's all good. It's still going.
Okay. All right. That's cool.
But as you see with this other company that's already won, like Infin, and now we're just
Mhm.
trying to build it more and more, right?
Got it.
We're trying to bring an indie scene, a more populated indie scene to China, right? We want places to work, and there's a lot of wrestlers out there who don't get to work so often. It's not like the States where like even if no matter what people think about this company and that company, they might say this company's shit, this company's good. Doesn't matter. There's places for guys to work, right?
Mhm.
So this is what we want to bring over here.
That's
More.
amazing. You're in on kind of the ground floor of establishing the sport on a different level in China. I mean, that's a tremendous responsibility, but it's got to be pretty gratifying.
I mean, it is, but it'll be more gratifying once we see more companies popping up, and once I get to work more, right? Because I mean, right now it's like I'm working once every 2 months, twice every 2 months, whatever the case may be, right? I I want this to be more of my thing as opposed to the job that I'm currently at.
Right. Right.
It makes sense. How does
Yeah.
the missus feel about your career as the Reaper?
Uh, she likes it. Don't get me wrong. Like the creative part, she thinks is cool. But now that I'm a father, she's worried about my health. You know, like
That
breaking
checks out.
something or fucking my brain out. Like right, like going brain dead, whatever the case may be.
That checks
She
out.
just, yeah, of course, she's. I also need to care for the family, so she does get a little worried about this, but you know,
Does she
God's good, I
frequent your
guess.
shows? Does she come out and sit in the crowd and watch you work?
No, she hasn't yet actually. Just because we have the baby now. The baby's a year and 7 months. So now the next show they're going with me, so they'll be able to see it for the first time. But
Oh,
she
nice.
watches all the videos and stuff like that. But before she couldn't have the baby out that late, right?
Right,
We
right.
were on a strict schedule. Whenever the baby goes to sleep at this time, right? So we had a routine that we had to follow. But now she's a bit older. She can watch it, but who knows? I don't know how she'll feel once she's there seeing me, seeing it live, me getting thrown around, right?
It's
So
not for the faint of heart sometimes, that's for sure. So
yeah.
here you are, you know, wrestling in the States, years go by, now you're back wrestling. Do you feel right now is the best version of yourself as opposed to what you were, or is there a happy medium between what you were and what you are now?
I would say I'll do it in this order. So PCW version of me was the worst version of me. Beginning of CTW, starting to get it. Then when working with Rion, I was getting there, right? With Dominion, this is when I was starting to find my footing. After that, not necessarily because I was out of it after that whole situation in CTW when and this is just me being bitter. I'm not going to go into details, but I think that we had the rug pulled from underneath us as Dominion. That's just what I feel.
110%. That is
And
absolutely
Yeah,
accurate.
you did.
And that's all I'm gonna say is maybe somebody else will have a disagreement about it, like maybe Aaron Xavier feels different, but and I just want to say his name directly, but there's no,
He doesn't
there's
watch
no,
the show. He's been on
no,
it
even if
many
he,
times, but he doesn't watch it.
no, even if he did, but there's no, I mean, it's water under the bridge now. It's not as big of a problem as some
He
other
doesn't have a very
other
big bridge.
situations. Yeah, it's not as big of a problem like as what me and Rian discussed in the past about PCW. It's not that big of a deal, but
Right.
as Dominion, we were gaining a lot of popularity, and I still remember that they had some promo videos, right? And look, I'm not trying to like. This is probably why they didn't want us to succeed as Dominion because maybe they thought that we were getting too cocky as a team or whatever the case may be. They took it the wrong way. It, maybe because we weren't always kissing their asses, whoever was in charge, right? We weren't always there to tell them like, oh, you're great. Yeah, we weren't always in their ear trying to get at the top of the card. We were just
wanted to work. They were just ready to work.
just wanted to work. Yeah, that's it. We wanted to work and we were getting popular organically. We weren't going there and then fucking whispering in the owner's ear so that he can put us in the fucking main event or semi main event. We were just organically getting over as Dominion. And some people thought we were getting too cocky. Why? Because me and Brandon hang out with each other. You know what I mean? Like because we talk to each other. I mean because we're buddies, and then also like even like maybe John wouldn't talk about it, Miles Mercer, right? But even John, he knows that this is what happened. Like he can see, like Miles knows. He's seen what the fuck is going on. Like, but you see the trajectory was different because John or Miles, he's such a cool cat, right? He's a good guy. You know what I mean? Like people like people like to they're cool with him no matter what. He can be cool with anybody.
Mm-hmm.
But back then especially, I didn't really have this about me. Like sometimes I rub people the wrong way and they don't like me for whatever reason, right? And that's what I think happened. Like they took however my personality was, they took us the wrong way. That's not what we were. This is not what we intended to do.
The best way I can describe it, and this is from me looking on the outside, was that there would be times where, and I'm using you directly, is that there would be times where you would do something and it would affect the crew. And then the crew would be like, well, we're going to stand by him because he's one of us. Does that make sense? Like, but it wasn't just you. It was like all of you because you all train together. And it's like, but we're not doing anything wrong. We're only doing it because you're putting us in this position.
Yeah. But the point is, no, I get what you're saying. But even Miles, he would be on our side as well, even though he wasn't part of Dominion.
Right.
But they wouldn't treat him that way. You know what I'm saying? Like there's just a difference. You go,
yeah,
like
and
it's because you can't hate them.
That would explain the birth of the ARC.
Take it however you want. Take it however.
That makes much more sense. There were some critical plot points missing from my memory. They've just been clarified. Thank you for that. I always blame Antoine because that's how it should be done.
Mm-hmm.
Just blame Antoine.
No, yeah, he fucked everything up. I'm sorry. Like I don't know what he's doing. I don't know what he's doing right now, but
Oh, don't
he
worry
let
about
the inmates run. He let the inmates run the fucking asylum. They took control over him. Then he wanted to be the white Undertaker or whatever the hell he was doing.
it.
Like that shit was ridiculous. I don't know what the fuck he was thinking. And then shame on those other wrestlers who are in positions of power. I'm not gonna name them, but they propped that motherfucker up, and they let him do that. They gave him the courage and to do that. Like what? The white phenom? What the fuck is that? I'm sorry. That ruined the entire image of CTW. That's the reason CTW is not what it once was. Sorry, my bad. I'm done.
Wait. I got it.
Excuse me.
The views of the Reaper, Nate Grimm, are not the same as the people here at the Power Hour.
Or maybe they are.
Well, depending on how you view this, just know that we didn't say it. It didn't come out of our mouths.
I'm still waiting for money.
Yeah, no,
That's
I
another.
take all responsibility for my own opinions.
Still waiting for
If
money.
you have any problems with anything that's being said, talk to the man that's currently in China.
Yeah, what are you gonna do about it?
talk to him. You have fun trying to deal with that.
But I'm just, whatever.
where
Profit
do you want to go
over
from here,
everything, I
sir?
guess.
I don't know where you go from here. All I can say
Sorry.
is I am damn glad and thankful that you reached out to get this together for us to do this, because I've always been a big fan of your work, and I've missed. I didn't know how much I missed you in wrestling until I've had a chance to sit back and listen to these stories. I always thought you were a terrific performer when I got to work with you, and I enjoyed calling your matches. And I'm just happy to see you in an element where you can be creative on your terms. And I think
Yeah,
that's what
thank you.
someone like you needs, is to be creative on your own terms. When you're bottled up and you're working under someone else's pretenses, it's like leaving an animal in a cage. You get to do what you feel your character is, and then look at what's happening. You're rewriting wrestling history in China, one match at a time.
He's so dark.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
I know you can't see this, but I just did a zoom in on Miles Mercer.
That's a very young Miles Mercer. That was Miles Mercer when he was like 14.
Like back when
I
they
can't see
tried
it.
to make him Shelton Benjamin. So I zoomed in on him on the ground while you
Silky?
delivering a forearm / elbow drop.
Is that what you're talking about? Silky? Miles Mercer?
Yeah.
Miles Silky Mercer?
Yes, sir.
The Kang of the pre-show,
Yes, sir.
as they called
Oh,
him
man.
back then. Now he's the Kang of the whole show, kind of like you are in China.
Thank you.
You found more pictures?
Yeah.
Oh, I got plenty
You
of
got
them.
plenty of
But you got.
But I mean, and then I just one more thing, like the main point of all this is like eventually, I don't know how far along or when it will happen. I want there to be an international show, right? I just don't know how it's all gonna come together yet. But I have resources out there. I have resources here, or I would like to think that I do. Right? I have resources
Working
in
on
the
it.
States as well.
Working on
Right.
it.
Yeah. So, yeah, exactly. So, not only you, but like just whatever other companies would be interested in, doing something like that, because there's a lot of terrific talent here. I named one, which is King of Man, was one of them. My new partner, Gao Yuan, he's one of them. He tried out for the WWE in Shanghai when they had a tryout, but they didn't choose him only because he's a small guy, right? In WWE back then, they don't take small guys. Like I'm talking about stature, height wise.
Yeah,
But he's one
they're
of the
changing
best.
their whole but I'm assuming
Yeah,
because of the way that they've been doing the TKO merger, like they've had to change like their entire dynamic. But that's
yeah,
a different conversation entirely. But
yeah. But now this guy's one of the best workers I've seen. Like he has a good character, but I'm talking about in the ring, amazing. We also work with Hong Kong guys from Hong Kong, so there's guys like Michael Su. He's also really good. I have a friend from Britain, Big Sam is his name. Another guy from Atlanta, Uncle Money. So like, there's a lot of
Okay.
foreign talent that are also good, right? That are here as well in China, living their lives, teaching, whatever they're doing, acting, but they're also wrestling here. So if we can, in the future, have an international show some way or another, whether it's back home or whether it's somewhere in between or over
Right.
here, it doesn't
Right.
really matter, right? So it's mostly about money and logistics, right? About how to get all that shit to work.
Legit.
Well,
That's what it boils
yeah,
down to.
yeah, exactly. So this is what whether it be years from now or whether it happens, this is to me, this is like a dream of mine, right? That's the end goal here.
Yep.
Well, that is a hell of a dream. Kind of like, wrestling uniting the world, bringing it all together. Everybody that loves it to do it. I think that's
Yeah,
awesome. I think,
lofty ambitions, right?
hey, you know what? You're not the only person that I hear talking about stuff like this. This was something John Bullard was talking about endlessly. Okay, never mind. We're gonna move right on from
No,
that.
I'm listening. I'm listening.
Well, you gave me the Rion side eye, and I'm like,
I'm listening.
Yeah.
I had more to
I
say.
did not have more to say, but I recognize that side eye and shut up. I understand the call signs on this program.
I feel like if you're going to stir a pot, you should bring that pot all the way
I
in.
wasn't stirring the pot. I was just because they got the chaotic
So
combat.
so what's that about? What pot is being stirred?
Well, I mean, I don't really think
Now I want to know.
we were doing this promotion called Chicagoland Championship Wrestling, and
I've
John
seen
was
some shit about it online.
John was the promoter, and he was trying to bring together an international flavor, and he had wrestlers coming from all sorts of places, and he was working on conduits to share wrestling talent, in the United States and different places like in Texas and down south,
Great ideas.
Okay.
Great ideas.
in Japan and in Mexico, and he had
Awesome. Yeah.
in Canada, he had all these. Logistically, as you know, it's difficult. So not a lot of it, got to come to fruition. But we still got a few wrestlers from across the pond
Mhm.
that did great work. When we saw them in Homewood, Sky Day being one of them.
Yeah, it was great stuff. It was great stuff.
But it never before CCW went away, it never worked out. And I still see him and John doing other things, and he's still championing this international desire. So maybe one day he'd be a person that could do something like this. I don't know. That's
Yeah,
the
I
only
mean,
person I
that's
know that has that in his mind too.
He is the one person that has verbally come out and said those types of ambitions that you have
Yeah,
to the world, as opposed to someone like myself that is
Who
just
doesn't-
the informational liaison that just kind of keeps things close to the chest.
yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, it makes sense.
Okay, but as far as the John Bullard deal, like I truly enjoy like things that he does. It's just for what he's trying to do with the resources that he has, and this is just for what I see. Uh, he's going to need help in order to do it, and
Yeah, of course.
I hope that it works. I really do, because it'll open a lot of doors for a lot of people, which is why I was
Yeah.
weirded out by him saying I gave him a side eye as far as Steve. I am 100% like for Bullet.
In favor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's just things that I see. Like I wish I had the connections that he had. Like, but I also understand that I have a different path that I am currently on, and I'm trying
Mm,
to work for everyone else. Does
yeah.
that make yeah.
I
Yeah,
thought
it
I was
makes
getting
sense.
outside the pocket. You were trying to bring me back into the pocket, so
There's no pocket
that's
there.
why I got the side eye.
There's no pocket there when it comes to Bullet. He has his own set of pants. You could just go ahead and work that however you want to.
Fair.
There's no pocket necessary with that.
I can't win on this show, so I just don't even try. I just stay in my own pocket, but that's neither here nor there. Any final thoughts, Mr. Reaper, before we let you go? Because you've been spectacular, and I hope we can get you on the show again, because I'd like to talk to you after you've had a few more shows and see how you're doing. I'd like to think that
Sure.
we've had enough fun where we can take this and make it a sequel.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, I'm always up for it. Just whenever, the stars align. And final thoughts, not really. It was nice talking to you again, right? Hope we can do it again soon. And I know Rion doesn't really like to talk about, some of the old things, right? No, it's not only him, it's a lot of the older heads. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the older heads, they don't like to
Are we
air out
talking
the
about the
dirty laundry.
gatekeepers? Is that what we're talking about, the gatekeepers?
Why don't you ask him?
Are we talking about the gatekeepers? Because I hear a lot about the gate. I got hate keepers and gatekeepers all over the goddamn place.
What is gatekeepers in what way? Like, what do you mean? Like,
Go on, Steve.
That is a word
in the way
I've
that
heard
I'm thinking.
Rion and many vets use. We need
Yes, that's what I'm
we
talking
need
about.
more gatekeepers. Some
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
So because see, here's the thing, and this is why I think is hilarious.
No,
So Steve has this thing where every now and then on this particular show, he'll try to put me in a spot to say certain things because he is in these, and I know this is gonna it'll
He's a
make sense
journalist.
as I'm saying it. He has this thing where he goes into this very weird shock jock / new media aspect of things
I'm
where he
Howard
wants-
turning it up.
where he wants a certain
Oh.
response for certain things.
Ambush journalism.
Yeah, and my whole thing is that I don't think you want those answers, Steve. I don't think, because that's not what this show is. That's not
Yeah.
like, just because I can say things and get away with it doesn't mean that I should be saying said things and
Yeah.
getting away with it. Not on here. Like it's like this show isn't designed for that.
That's why we have the morning
Yeah.
after coming to Twitter
Yeah.
this fall.
Like that's
Nice.
it is designed where it's very positive and it's made for love and it's all like we appreciate people that come on to the show and doing
100%.
everything else, but then he'll turn around and be like, Rion, how do you feel about this thing you may or may not like? And I'm like, well, that took a hard left. Like, maybe I want to give some flowers too. Like, I don't understand why
Yeah.
I have to
No,
go
I mean,
this route.
and again, like, because of what I did today on the show where I'm just airing shit out, maybe that's also a reason why people don't like me, right? So I have to
you've
take
done
this
nothing,
into
like, you
account.
haven't said anything wrong.
No.
The only
I
thing
know.
but like for me, and this is just me, because I was there. So I completely understand like everything that's taking place. Now there's some people that'll like, I wouldn't be surprised if people will ask me later on, what were they talking about? And if they come to me directly, I'll gladly tell them everything that I know about that situation. However, and this is where Steve comes into play, is that he will put certain things out there that I personally would rather just talk to someone directly for.
I
And
see.
he's like, how do you feel about all of these things that I know you don't want to talk about right now?
Because
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
he wants
I
to get the
guess
juiciest scoop.
let me navigate this thing that I was, because I'm only doing pictures. Like I stopped, like I do pictures from the phone. Like I'm not sure if you've been like watching the screen, but I'll just randomly just throw stuff up. Pac is over here with my face on the screen because
Which is great.
because that's what he sees. That's what they see out of me.
You have
is
tremendous skin.
Is this face. They see that.
Yeah.
Very healthy.
Because I've given that face to people
I
just cause.
just got it a few minutes ago.
You got an image to uphold, right?
No. Like maybe 10 years ago. I'm so far out the door, people don't want me to leave. Like it's so
Yeah.
it's so ridiculous. Like I've warned people that I'm going to be leaving, and they're like, "Wait, here's one more thing before you go. Here's another thing." Like at Rock and Pro, they gave me a whole title run because I was like, "Look, baby, like you already stopped booking me. Like I'm good. They gave me a whole title run. I was like, or you could just let me go.
Yeah.
Let me walk away. Like I'm already gone.
Let's.
The good
Yeah.
folks of Joliet want to hear "Can You Feel It" forever.
And they have a record player that they could just go and play said thing. And I think they've upgraded to digital now. Like they can just
Sounds
play the
magical.
song. They can just play it. They don't need me to be there to play said song.
All right, I will recant the gatekeeping situation. You said that you wanted to give Mr. Nate some flowers. If you would like to, now C-Red couldn't be here tonight because he was dealing with some personal loss. So we wish him well.
Okay.
And our friend Rachel had a accident with an
Condolences.
air fryer and she couldn't make it. But they send their love and they wish they were here, and maybe they'll be available next time you're on. But Red usually
Sure.
gives the flowers to the people because we appreciate you and we want to show you that we love you. So maybe you could give C-Red's roses to Nate before we let him go.
So
Wait. Pax, where are my roses?
I'll put them up. I can put them up.
Pax is quick. He's like a squirrel.
Well, we'll see.
Working on a meme as we speak.
See?
Pax is in the lab working on the memes. I love it.
See, it's that type of stuff. You know what? I'm gonna give you a gift because I feel like you would appreciate this one thing. I'm gonna go back to this one particular photo. I feel like
Sure.
actually no, there's one that I haven't shown that I'm going to put on here and then go from there. Okay. So I know you're looking at this. If you are looking at this, and like, what the hell is going on? So this is a photo of Matt Creed getting out of the way as Nathaniel Grimm gets ready to kick me in the face. This is happening in PCW
In real time.
in real, like it is.
Was it Midlothian?
No, this
or
is
was it-
Franklin Park. Franklin Park, actually.
I was gonna say,
okay.
recognize those pillars and lights.
This
Yeah,
is
there you go.
so.
Yeah, Youth Gone Wild.
What was happening at the time, and I'm going to use that particular match, and so you can understand like where my head is. It was a 6-man elimination tag. I remember going into the match, recognizing that it's an elimination match, and saying, "Oh, sweet, I'm out at 1. I've already decided that I'm going to be the first one out. Let the other guys work. It'll be fine. You don't need me in this match." And I remember both Wally and yourself were like, "Dude, we need you in this match. Or you guys could just work said match." Because there was stuff that was happening behind the scenes, and I'm like, "Look, I don't know if you guys really want me to be in this match." But I just remember both you and Wally specifically, while I'm having 2 different conversations, ultimately saying the same thing, like, we need you to anchor this match. Fine. It's okay. So we start working on stuff. And I remember talking with Grimm, going back and forth with him as far as, because he had certain ideas he wanted to do. And he's like, "You think I can get my finisher off?" I was like, "If I'm in this match, you will be." And he was like, "What?" Like, you're going to hit your finisher on someone. If you're going to be in this match with me towards the end, then I'm going to do
And I hit it on Creed.
Yeah, you hit it on Creed. And I was like, we're going to do everything in my power to get that done for you. So I remember talking with Wally and some of the other guys, because I was originally trying to get out first. And then not just Wally, but the higher ups, like, "Oh no, he needs to stay in there and anchor." And I was like, "Okay, that's fine. But who's going to be the one that I eliminate out?" "Oh, it'll be Wally." "Okay, so then I get to control the rest of them." Okay, so that's all I needed. And then I start talking with other people. "Okay, Grimm's going to do this. We set this up here. We move this over this way." And it was like, "Why don't you want to take any of the?" Don't need them. For what? If you guys keep talking about the young guys are going to start working, then they need to be put in a position to said work. And I just remember going back to Grimm. "Okay, we're going to do this for you." And he was like, "Wait, what?" Like, "Really?" "Yeah, we're doing it right now." Like, they're like, I know that we're going to end up losing this match, but at least we'll put you in a position to where it makes sense for you, to where you come out strong. Because now it's not the old heads that are like working everything. It's all the younger people that want a chance to work. So this is what y'all wanted. We're gonna go and work. And prior to this, and I go a couple months before then, Grimm was in such an emotional state, like not just from wrestling, but just as a whole, like in this
Uh-huh.
summit. I remember having this conversation with him, and he like all the stuff that was like bottled up in his body, not just from a wrestling stand, but from a personal and professional.
Some
Like,
other stuff.
yeah, it was just stuff that he just let out on me. And I remember sitting there and just listening to him. I'm like, okay, look,
Yeah.
okay, we're now that you've gotten all of that out.
Yeah, I didn't. It wasn't directed towards you though.
No, I
Like it
know,
didn't.
I
I didn't
know.
mean for it. Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm not even sure if you remember what I said to you. I was like, now that you've gotten all that out, there are two things that you need to take from this. One, don't ever go about that the way that you did with me ever again when it comes to the higher ups. And two, I will do everything in my power to make sure that you are comfortable in this locker room. I will do my best to make sure that you are good. And he's like,
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
when
think yeah, yeah,
I went off at some other older heads as well,
yeah.
and
And I'm
were
like,
like
I was like, I
more
can fix
crazy.
I was like, I can fix this, but you have to trust me and you have to let me get in a position to where you can fix it. And lo and behold, we get to this match and they're allowing me to let Grimm get this pinfall on, like he gets to work this pinfall on Victor Wade. Like he on the guy that he's been training before because they're putting Creed over. But I just remember this
Or
one.
Van Wright at the
Yeah,
time.
Van
Van
Wright at
Wright.
the time. Van Wright in there. And they're allowing this thing to happen. And I just remember him, he was just thanking me because it meant more to him, not only to be able to do his finisher, but to do it with someone that he's worked with for so long. And I just remember he was very thankful in the aspect. I was like, don't thank me yet. We haven't gotten to that point yet. I was like, the only thing you're gonna have to do is kick me in the face. And he's like, what? What do you mean? Like, look, in order for this thing to happen, you have to kick me in the face after you do this finish. And he kind of looked at me, is like, really kick me in the face? Like you gotta kick me. Like there's no way around it in order for this to work. All right. And lo and behold, you see his boot.
There it is.
And he kicked
Yeah.
out of it.
And
He kicked
it was the last three, wasn't it? Wasn't it Creed, me and you, right? And then we were double teaming
yeah.
him, and then
Because
Creed pulled the Cena.
so what we ended up doing, I took multiple Germans before that so you can get that finisher off.
Yeah,
I think I
from
took
Van Wright.
that from Van Wright to where
Yeah,
I had to take this one out to where once he stood up, you were able to wrap up and hit him with it. And I remember looking over at you while I'm on the ground and I'm like, okay, cool. And it was one of the few times where I saw him smile because it was more than just the match at that point. Because he was able to do something creatively that it like there was something there. And then he was able to take that and go into CTW with Dominion and work that type of creativity.
in PCW, that was probably one of two times where I was allowed to do something that I wanted to do
And I had
out
to
of
fight
like
for that. And I had to
out of
fight.
like 2 or 3 years, right? 3 years maybe.
Yeah.
That was oh no, four. Yeah, around 4 years,
Yeah, give or
three and
take.
a
Give or
half.
take.
Yeah, exactly. That was only two times I was able to do that. And I was also asking for mic time for a long time and they refused to give it to me.
And I
Refused.
in their defense, based on what took place today, they did right.
What do you mean?
But the idea is that I I love the fact that that one thing was able to allow you from a creative standpoint to go and do other things, even to the point where you were able to come back to wrestling? Because I didn't think you were going to come back. And not only have you come back, but you are creating something out there that a lot of promoters out here would have just wet dreams about.
100%.
Like to
Yeah,
just have a flat canvas and be able to do whatever you want to with said canvas, like that. It's
yeah, and
amazing.
I'm still evolving, right? So
Mm-hmm.
like I never answered your question, Steve, earlier about which version do I think is the best. This current version is the one I think is the best by far and away. But I still think there's a long way to go. And the not only with wrestling in the ring, but creatively. And uh, I want it to be more as a promoter as well, right? And I'm not talking about a promoter of the entire brand. I'm talking about just creatively crafting stories, angles, storylines. This is something that I also have a passion for doing, and I think I have the mind uh, and whatever big picture type of thinking where I'm able to see how things can go like 1, 2, 3, 4 months, a year ahead of time, right? Like this is where direction it should go, the storyline. And if this happens or if this guy gets injured, we can just, fill in whatever we have to do or adapt when cross that bridge when we get to it, right? So this is what I want to do. I want to be more like a director when it comes to storylines and wrestling, but I also want to be not necessarily the starring role, but I also want to be playing a role in that, right, as a character.
That
So
is
that's my
amazing stuff.
biggest
And
thing.
I feel 100% like you could do it. I look forward to watching you do it. There's another shot of you beating up Rion.
No, that's what happened after I got kicked in the face. He checked on me.
I
Oh,
was checking on him.
Like legit, like, are you okay? I was like, just let me lay here. I'm good. I still got another spot.
And that's when Matt Creed pinned me.
Yes, that's when he hit you.
And that's when, yeah, I remember that. It's all coming together now.
But ultimately I went and said this entire thing to say there's no way you could have told me based on what I saw over in Summit like 10 years ago that this would be the person that you are now. I am very grateful to be able to see the actual transition between what you
Thank
were
you.
to what you are now. Because what you
Thanks.
were and what you are now is one very, very important thing is that you are very chaotic. You were chaotic in a bad way when you were younger, but this version of you now is much more controlled because you have so many ideas, but you also need to keep yourself in a certain lane. And I love it. I really love it because
Thanks.
there's a lot of people out there that
So you
try.
would say I'm chaotic now, but in a more positive way. That's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right.
And it's
Chaotic good.
yeah, yeah. And there's
Okay.
nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. And I
Thanks.
am happy
Yeah.
knowing your history, knowing who you were and what you are now. I'm happy to be able to physically see what's going on. And
Thanks, man.
it's a
Appreciate
good
it.
thing. It's a very good thing.
And can I also say one more thing? Like
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
how much better of a name is Victor Wade than Van Wright? It's like light
Oh,
years.
Hey, Brandon, we love Brandon, and we're happy for him and Carl and their kid. But there is no way Van Wright should have been a thing. That is
Oh,
picking
it's
two
terrible.
names out of a hat.
It's a terrible name. But I
The
forgot who came
Ripper
up with it.
Victor
But I
Wade. Now
remember
that's awesome.
I just remember and all the because we had like 5 tag matches against them, me and Cruz. And I just remember Wally all the time, like, man, right to the top. And like it was every single match. Man, right. And I was like, oh my God, this shit is cringe, man. Like I can't. But Victor Wade, that's a totally different animal.
Yeah.
And I
Hey, if you
hope
guys ever get it back
to see
together,
him back.
you'll be the Ripper and the Reaper.
No, that's what I told him already. I already told him about that.
I want to see that.
So yeah, it'll be nice. We'll see if whenever I bring my family to the States to see my other family. Hopefully, we can set something up during that time. Who knows?
Keep me
But
posted. Just
yeah,
keep-
exactly. But
I would just
I
love to be a
will,
part
no
of that.
problem.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
but again, that's Brandon. He also is a new father, so you can't really
Learning quick.
you can't really push it. You can't push it. You gotta wait to see if it aligns. If it doesn't, it's all good. But if it does, that's something I want to see too in the future. So
Man, that's
because
great.
I know he was great. He was great, and he had I think he had, what's the word? He just was a natural at it. You know what I'm saying? Like whereas as opposed to
And
me,
yeah,
like I can move for my size and I can do the character work, but he's just natural when it comes
and
to in ring. Yeah, exactly. So he
that-
just had the instinct. Yeah. So
I feel very, very fortunate to have had a chance to watch Dominion in the short time at CTW that we were there. And I'm happy now that we got a chance to talk to you, this version of you, because watching, like he said, your evolution is amazing and it makes us all, and I think anybody that watches the show is gonna want to see what you do next because the passion you speak with and the ideas that you have, that's good for this business any way you cut it. So you are good for this business, and we appreciate your time tonight, all the way from China.
thank you guys. All right, thank you.
All right, we are
Hope
going to
to
let
talk
him
to you again in
go.
the future.
Nate, we are going to book you again, and we are going to talk more about this. And if you do come to the States, we'll look forward to seeing you.
All right, no problem, man.
Now go to
Talk to you
work,
guys
damn it.
later. Yeah, works in a little bit. I'll see you guys later.
all right.
Take care, Nate.
All right, bye bye.
All right, that is Nate Grimm, the Reaper. He's got some big shows coming up in Finn, and then KOPW on March 23rd. Well, that was fun.
Yep.
You were very into it.
Probably.
I did not realize your ties to him. So I thought him booking, wanting to come on the Power Hour was just kind of out of the blue. Now I see that you're the puppet master pulling all the
Oh
strings.
no, I had no idea this was a thing.
Because you had that emoji when I made this announcement, you had the little shocked emoji, and then now I see you've all been behind the scenes. So I'm like, well, he
Nope,
must not have been
no,
that shocked.
It's not. No, like I'm dead serious. I did not know. Like you did that. I was just shocked that that was a thing.
We were supposed to have J.R. Lindsay on tonight,
Like you're right.
and he graciously gave us the opportunity to do this interview.
He got kicked out the house. Yeah.
So thanks, Russ. We not only did you get kicked out of the house, you got kicked out of the Power Hour too. That's kind of funny, in an unfortunate way. But we'll have Russ. We got Russ booked.
Know
Later.
that I didn't laugh, Russ.
I laughed.
I didn't laugh.
But I've had my ass whipped by him. I get to laugh.
Mhm.
But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So we'll have Russ down the line. He's not gone forever, just for a little bit, because getting somebody from China that we haven't seen in a while, that just makes you feel good, right?
Takes precedent.
Takes precedent. Gotta take it while you can. Real quick, I mean, we're running late as usual. I guess we're never gonna get out of here under 3. Let's go back and put the graphic up and finish talking about IPW and the Medallions tournament. There it is. All right, so I can't see any. I'm gonna need. Can you hand me those glasses?
You did that to yourself.
I can't see a
I don't
goddamn
know
thing
why you
anymore.
did.
That's
I don't even know why
tiny.
you did that.
Let's
That's
take a
fine.
look here. Okay, now I can see. All right, so we've got Corey McHenry and is that Coda? I'm not familiar with Coda. Tell me a little bit about that.
New guy.
New guy. So that's a matchup there. Thank you so much. Jesus Christ. You don't make me wear my cheaters ever again. EJ Swanson versus Adonis Allen. That is a compelling Wrestle League themed match.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got Big J Thunder taking on my old trios partner Gustavo,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm excited about. I still feel bad about the situation I put him in.
Mm-hmm.
Then we've got all I can think of is his chest.
Whose chest?
Crizio.
Focus on the one bracket you're already in.
Oh, I was done.
Are you done with
I
that?
was done.
Okay.
That's all I see. I don't see. I
Okay.
went-
Okay. There you go.
So I was up over here now. And then we got the man with the glowing chest from space, Crizio,
Mm-hmm.
taking on my old friend Diesel Trax,
Mm-hmm.
which will be good. And what is that there?
Wade Evans.
Oh, that
Yeah,
fucker.
workhorse. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I'm a friend of the workhorses now. So Wade Evans versus, is that James Hurley?
James Hurley.
Who's James Hurley?
New guy.
New guy. Good. We like new guys. I guess Rockin' Rivera and Kid Lat are just destined to fight forever. It's not bad enough that the man got his pants pulled down in the bathroom by Kid Lat. They're back at it. And then the most unlikely of matchups, reminiscent of me trying to square off against Aaron Stone. You put Turtle against Shaq Jordan. The generation.
I didn't put
The-
the board of IPW put.
That's what I meant. That's what I meant.
All I do is deliver information.
As
when I get
informational
it.
liaison, sometimes you get confused as being the man. You're not the man. You're just the liaison.
I'm just the liaison. That's
So Shaq, the generational treasure, takes on the mutant ninja turtle
Mhm.
from the sewer.
Mhm.
Actually, all these matches are great, but that's a.
I
I hope I can make it out to see this.
I personally giggled when I saw that match being put together. Simply, for a few reasons, but there's one particular reason why I giggled when they told me this match was going to be a thing, because for a while I know that Turtle had made it abundantly clear that he was going to stop doing the refereeing thing and go into the wrestling thing, and someone at IPW heard this and was like, all right. It just not so much threw him in the fire, but just like, okay, here you go. If this is what you want to do, then we need to put you in a position to do it. And
Always a catch.
The one thing that I love about IPW is that they do not play favorites.
Nobody knows that better than me.
They do not play favorites.
Nobody knows that better than me.
They enjoy the idea of someone saying, okay, we want to do this thing, and they are 100% encouraged that, okay, we can do that.
That was the old me. This is the new me. Anyway, this is going to be this Sunday, Richton Park. If you haven't come out to IPW yet in Richton Park, you really ought to, because it's a lot of fun, a lot of great talent. Look at all the superstars that are on that card that are successful other places too. So come on out, check out. It's doors open at 1, show starts at 2. And I'm sure there will be other crazy things that happen, other unpredictable things, right? What do you liaison? Do you know? Is there any? Have you heard anything else of any other shenanigans that are happening?
I can say this only because of the current situation. As I said before at the beginning of the show, referee Christian is not refereeing. He's in the tournament.
Yes.
So the board of IPW asked me to ultimately replace Christian because he can't be a referee.
So you have some special guest ref coming in.
A couple, because I for one am not trying to referee. I've been in a position where I've had to referee matches at IPW, and I'm not doing it this time.
I did it once. I ain't doing it again.
There's too much. There's too much happening. There is a total of, I think, 13 or 14 matches. It may be 15. I don't know, but it's a lot. It reminds me of what PCW used to do back in the day with their quest for the Cup tournament or their Power Cup tournament. So there's going to be a lot of things happening in a short amount of time, and I need to be everywhere but the actual ring.
Yeah, that's a lot of moving pieces. You got to liaison your ass off.
Yeah.
Do we have a host?
No, there's no host.
Is it going to be a computer generated GM or something like that?
I will have to just address things and just let it happen. From what I know, I will say that tomorrow morning there will be a schedule for the year for IPW.
Oh, fantastic. Will Michael Allen be doing the ring announcing?
I don't know. Well, I guess we'll all figure it out once we get there.
Sunday's coming.
Because, like, there's stuff, and I just know that every time that I go there, I have to wait and see what's going to happen, and just be like, all right, I guess this is what the board's giving me, so this is what I'm going to do.
All right. We want to thank the Reaper, Nate Grimm, for joining us all the way from China. That was a lot of fun. Want to thank Pac-Man. Thanks, Pax.
You are more than welcome, sir.
And you did a great job tonight. And I know that it's not always easy getting on here on a Tuesday night. And every time you do, I really appreciate it. You bring more to this show than you know, and more than you're given credit for. And I wasn't sure you were going to make it tonight. So if you listen to the beginning before you got on here, I was singing your praises as well.
Yeah, no, I was running a little late, so I do apologize for running a little late.
Well, I mean, you're only doing 17 podcasts. You're wrestling, you're managing, you're backstage interviewing. But I will make an announcement that will make you happy. Next week on this show, our guest is none other than one of your favorite human beings, Chet Gunderson from Rocket Pro Wrestling.
No way.
Chet will be our guest next Tuesday night on this show.
Shoot.
I can't tell you what's going to happen because even I don't know.
Oh, we're going to have some fun next Tuesday, boys.
So tell the LIM that their hero will be on, so they're all watching the ongoings, because I'm sure we'll have a lot to say about Shamrock Shuffle or Shamrock Showdown, not Shuffle.
Shamrock Showdown.
That's a whole different thing. That's a race in Chicago that I will never do. But the Shamrock Showdown, that happens. So you're trying to get me out of pocket, and I'm trying to wrap this up.
I can wrap this up real quick. Happy Black History Month, everybody.
Heine is okay. Heine is all right in certain circumstances.
Please continue.
All right, that's all from us. Thanks to Rion. Thanks to Nate. Thanks to Pax. C-Red and Rachel, we miss you terribly, and we hope you guys are okay and get through what you're going through. And again, we said it earlier, we'll say it one more time. Don't miss Chicago Knockouts Roller Derby Saturday in Homewood. Pax, get your ass out there. You have no excuses.
I plan on being there. I'm planning on pulling both roller derby and IPW this weekend. So looking forward to getting back on the road.
Because as we've said many times, the more Pac-Man, the better we like it.
You don't hear Travis say that too much, or he doesn't want to admit it at least.
I can't say anything because Travis and I are buddies now. So
that is true.
Long live FreakNet Studios and our relationship with them, and Viva La JFW and La JIFW, I think is what they call it. But that's a story for another time.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
Pac-Man.
Yes, sir.
You do what you like.
I got you.
All right.
That's it. That's the Power Hour. Good night. Thank you. And we will see you next Tuesday night. Have a pleasant evening and support your local wrestling. And don't steal people's shit.